the old cell phone, and I look down at it. I see Cam Newton has been released by the New England Patriots. But wait, there's more. The Gamecocks of South Carolina are going to begin their 2021 campaign. They are going to begin the era of the Beamer with a grad assistant coach transfer as the starting man under center in Columbia. And that, ladies and gentlemen, that's how we get our show started off today. That's how we get going today. We have not just QB news, but two redonk stories right off the get. Because that's just what this week's gonna be, man. That's just what this week's gonna be. And the answer is yes. Yes, I am quite excited about it. Ladies and gentlemen, football season is upon us. In fact, I will even say, Lonzo, that when I got out of the car here at the palatial ESPN Upstate Studios and began entering our fortress of sportstitude, there was a bit of crispness in the fall air outside. I may have been imagining it, but it was there.
The 80-degree fall air, yeah.
It was crisp.
Crisp is not a word I would use.
Okay. Felt like it was cardigan weather outside.
You are from Florida, so maybe it feels different. You know?
I really am. Ladies and gentlemen, it is football season, finally and officially. So, with all that being said, what do you say, Zoe? Let's just jump right in.
Let's do lunch.
This is a very nutritious lunch. All the food groups are represented.
You guys here?
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
The lunch breakdown of 3 things you have to know before you go start talking sports with your friends, family, coworker, or the dog, whoever you spend your lunch break with. Item number 1, we have already told you about just mere seconds ago. It's quarterback news for a couple of teams. We start in New England, the Boston Globe, reporting earlier this AM that Cam Newton is no longer a member of the New England Patriots. And it was a bit of a shock, Lonzo, but the more I got to thinking about it, the more it makes sense, right?
I received a text while I was, on our sister station from my daughter going, "Is this true?" And I was busy doing other things, and I'm like, let me check. And yeah, Cam Newton has been released. I was a little shocked by it.
He gets released, and the initial reaction was shock. But then I had a thought. I really dove into it a little bit, and after doing so, I came to the realization that it actually isn't as shocking as I initially thought it was going to be. Yeah, for a few reasons. Number 1, this part will make some of you uncomfortable, but it is what it is. I know, Lonzo, but follow me here. If you are Bill Belichick, what is the number 1 character trait you are looking for in a player? Reliability. That's part of the reason that he and Brady got along so well. It is part of the reason that Bill Belichick has been so incredibly ruthless with his players through the years. Guys that were huge parts of the Patriot way would suddenly find themselves without a team. And people would go, wait, that's just cold-blooded from Hoodie. The reality is, when Hoodie can't rely on you to make his football team better, you are worthless to him. Now, you got Mac Jones, a guy that you drafted in the first round, a guy that you drafted to be the future, and you've got over there on the other side, Cam Newton. Cam Newton, a guy who has already dealt with COVID and had it kick his rear end, his description, not mine, has not gotten vaccinated since that point, to the point that it caused him to miss time earlier in the season. And then I want you to pile that on top of the fact that Cam Newton and Mac Jones are very different quarterbacks. Very different quarterbacks with very different styles of play, right? You have to shift the offense entirely around when you alternate Cam and Mac Jones. We saw that in the preseason. I just realized Cam and Mac are back. They're backwards, so it's C-A-M-M-A-C. Bro. Which makes sense, right? Because you got Mac running one side of offense, and you flip it around, and you got Cam running the completely opposite style of offense. It makes sense at that point that you would have such a huge gap in the way that they run things that I wouldn't want him as my backup either. So if his reliability is in question, which it is, and he's a completely different style quarterback than the guy that you are handing the reins to in Mac Jones, Lonzo, the more I thought about it, the more it actually isn't all that big of a shock that Cam's on his way out now.
But is Cam done? Because there are 3 or 4 teams out there who could use him, and he would have a shot at starting right away.
Uh-huh. I think he's done. I think he's done.
You think he's done?
No. I do not think he's done. I do not think he's done. And what
I can go back to hating the Patriots.
I'll say be a half-ass Patriots fan.
Well, I just wanted Cam to do well.
Yeah.
Now, who cares? I hope they lose all their games.
Fair.
I'm back to normal.
Second item our second part of the item number 1. We talked about this a little ago, about 3 weeks ago, when Luke Doty went down. South Carolina had to add a backup quarterback to the roster, and they ended up adding a kid by the name of Zeb Nolan. Zeb Nolan came to South Carolina as a graduate assistant on Shane Beamer's coaching staff. Now, Lonzo, you know what he's doing this Saturday?
Playing some football.
He's getting his first college football start at the FBS level.
What a story. I mean, this goes to show you, you think you're down and out, you go somewhere, and then you're given the opportunity. Next thing you know, you are the starter.
Nolan.
At least for this week.
Till probably until Doty comes back. Zeb Nolan showed up in South Carolina expecting to get his coaching career started, right? Get up under Shane Beamer, learn some lessons, whatever. He has instead been sharing reps in practice with redshirt senior Jason Brown, who transferred to South Carolina from St. Francis, an FCS school in Pennsylvania. And now Zeb Nolan getting the nod. Remember, he had just finished his playing career, or so he thought, in May with North Dakota State, when North Dakota State lost to Sam Houston in the FCS quarterfinals. He had already landed a spot as a graduate assistant on Beamer's staff, but ended up putting the helmet on after Luke Doty went down in the preseason. Nolan now getting the nod. During his final season at North Dakota State, 6'2", 230-pounder, passed for 721 yards, 5 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions in 7 games. Here's the problem. Lonzo, my heart wants this to work out for this kid, right? I want him to have a story. Guy showed up. He thought he was coming on over to be a coach. Thought he was coming over to be a guy. Ends up getting the start. My heart is pulling for him. I hope that he goes out there and has an incredible game. But I have no reason to think anything other than, God, I hope they can run the ball because they are going to suck through the air this weekend.
Wow. I mean, you got to look at who the opponent is. And that helps. And so maybe this guy, maybe Zeb, has a better grasp of the offense, and so they have more confidence in him, and they know that Luke Doty's going to be back. Wow.
That's exactly what this is. This is a look of panic on behalf of the Gamecocks. That's exactly what this is. I was excited pre-Luke Doty going down. I was optimistic about this season. I've been telling y'all I thought bowl eligibility was almost a guarantee this year, and here we come.
Hey, Rob, does Will Muschamp still coach for the Gamecocks?
No.
We good.
We good. Here we come out for week 1 with a grad assistant with terrible numbers at the FCS level. Now, granted, it's week 1. Fortunately for the Gamecocks, they've got Eastern Illinois and not actual Illinois. That's good news.
So
this is indeed panic, Lonzo.
Aside from Clemson getting the last breath off if Carolina were to lose this game, should there be panic if they do?
Yes.
Just because of the quarterback position. Because that means there's no one ready as far as the young guys go.
It means that there was no one able to step up to help you beat Eastern Illinois, right? Like, it means that there was nobody to step up. The defense couldn't step up to help. The running game wasn't there. So, if they lose this weekend, yes, I will panic.
Running game's going to be pretty strong.
Here's hoping.
And here's the other.
It's the only way they're going to win.
Here's the other thing. So Luke Doty is what I think you said yesterday, or 80%. So if things go really, really badly, they can bring Luke Doty in to bring them back. If he indeed is the answer, because we don't know.
No, it's the injury to Luke Doty. I promise you, when Luke Doty's healthy, he's coming back to start. He's getting his spot back, right? Like, we talked to Corey Diaz yesterday on the show when I said, could Luke Doty lose his position to an injury to where he can't get the spot back? And he's like, yeah, if Brown or Nolan step up and actually play, then yeah, there is absolutely a chance that, but I don't see it happening. All right. If Brown couldn't beat out a grad transfer coach in Zeb Nolan, he's not going to beat out Luke Doty even when Doty comes back. And that move's got to get made. So you need to healthy him up on the quick. We'll come back to that later on the show as well, but I got a couple more stories for the lunch breakdown I want to get into. Item number 2 on the lunch breakdown. Speaking of Dorona, the Southeastern Conference announced yesterday that they will join and become the latest, and I believe all the Power 5 conferences are now in the same group. If a team is unable to field a team in order to play within the Southeastern Conference this year because of injuries, COVID-19, or other reasons, that team will forfeit that game, and that game will count as a loss in conference standings. The opponent that is ready, capable, and able to play will be credited with a win. The conference announced that yesterday. If both teams can't play because of COVID-19 or any other reason, they will both forfeit. Both teams will take a loss in the conference standings. Commissioner Sankey can declare a no contest, quote, for any event if extraordinary circumstances warrant, end quote. And tiebreaker procedures will apply for determining the conference championship game and division winners if needed. If a school that is able to play suffers a, quote, direct financial loss, end quote, from a cancellation, it can submit a request for reimbursement to be considered by the Southeastern Conference. So if you are Tennessee and you got the Gators coming to town and the Gators have an outbreak and cannot play that game, the SEC will consider reimbursing Tennessee for the home game money that they will be cost because of it. But the big story here in the Southeastern Conference is ultimately going to be that if you are unable to go because of the Rona or anything else, you eaten that L.
Wait. So what you're saying, if a team can't play, they forfeited. How is that a story? It's not really a story. The story is the money, but a team not being able to play, it should be a. It's not really a story. The fact that if two teams have to forfeit, it may cost them money, or they may have to be reimbursed. That's a story, and that's crazy. But a team not being able to play, forfeiting, that's sports.
Yes, correct, but also not entirely.
Wow.
Because past there may have been moves in order to push a game back, right? Like you could postpone. There have been, in fact, last year we've had games postponed. There were talks about having games postponed this year. At the high school level, we're having games postponed, right? We got 5 kids with the Rona. We got to quarantine half the team. We're going to postpone this game to the open date.
I am not.
It was not expected to necessarily be this
I am
way.
not unsympathetic, but if you can't play, you forfeit for whatever reason. That's just sports. Oh, what?
Lonzo, man, he's on one today, folks. He's ready. He's bringing the heat today. I love it. Item number 3 on the lunch breakdown, as we mentioned earlier, Cam Newton has been cut. Part of the reason why, well, it is cut day. It is cut day, ladies and gentlemen. 53-man rosters are due to the NFL today, so we have got cuts coming in from around the league right now. We're keeping an eye on them for you, but we'll take a look at the NFC South, the Carolina Panthers, some of the names that are now off the roster for them today. Kicker Joey Sly has been released by the Carolina Panthers, so they are going to go with the new guy. Darius Clark, running back, and fullback Rod Smith gets the cut. So no fullbacks on the roster this year, at least right now, for the Panthers. Krishan Hogan, Ishmael Hyman, and Micah Simone, the wide receivers, are all out. Offensive line, that's a spot that we were really curious about. Matt Caskey, Martez Ivy, Marquel Harrell are all on the cut list as well. Those are, for the most part, the biggest names. There's not really another big names that have been cut by the Panthers. We will talk more about those breakdowns later on for you for the New Orleans Saints, just because they're right under Carolina and it's my team. So I'm going to look at them. Why not? Tommy Lee Lewis, the wide receiver, has been cut. Let's see. Noah Spence, the linebacker. That might be an interesting cut. Prince Amukamara was trying to make a comeback with the New Orleans Saints, but he was cut as well. So there's some of your cut lines, ladies and gentlemen. Let's take a quick break. When we come back here in just a minute from right now, y'all, and I told Lonzo about this story yesterday. Texter wrote in a few minutes ago. Speaking of ridiculous, did you see the Bishop Sycamore High School story? If not, look into it. I did see it. It is the most fascinating thing that I have heard of in a minute, and we are going to break it down next on The Rob Brown Show. Rob Lonzo and you. This is ESPN Upstate.
No,
Too late. Those
I would've
are
did it.
American
Not now.
made.
We're not here to take part. We're here to take over. Named the best sports talk show in South Carolina. The Rob Brown Show, only on ESPN Upstate.
So, if you have not heard the story of Bishop Sycamore High, I invite you, ladies and gentlemen, to sit down, strap in, take a break, relax, because we are about to weave for you a tale so ridiculous, you will hardly believe it.
Or,
And I know that.
or genius, depending on how you look at it.
Depending on what perspective you're coming from. Because this is I don't know, man. It's a wild story, okay? So, over the weekend, a football academy down in Florida, IMG Academy. And you'll know IMG Academy because IMG Academy is where Jaleel Skinner transferred to. Jaleel Skinner was the top-ranked tight end in the country who played right here at Greer High School and then left Greer in order to head back down to Florida to play for the IMG Academy, which is not a huge shock. Not a huge shock. IMG Academy is a D1 prospect, like factory, man. I forgot how that word worked for a second. They just crank out top-tier players. So IMG Academy, one of the top high school teams in the country every single year, a team that more often than not ends up having like 8 to 12 ESPN top 100 players a year on their roster. They're absolutely stacked. And when ESPN and other networks decide that they want to put some high school football on TV, pay attention to recruiting, etc., IMG Academy is one of the places they pay attention. So, IMG Academy was set as one of the opponents in the finale of the Geico Kickoff Classic, a series of 7 high school games across the ESPN networks featuring some of the country's best high school teams. Now, IMG lined up against a high school called Bishop Sycamore. And if you're like me and you have like a vague knowledge of the high school teams around you, and that's pretty much the extent of it, but you tuned in because, hey, football's football, then I suspect you would have assumed, hey, this Bishop Sycamore High School out of Ohio, if they're the team that got lined up against IMG Academy out of Florida, arguably the best high school team in the country, they must be pretty good.
And Ohio has a history of some pretty good high schools. So,
Sure.
Camp McKinley, a bunch of the Cincinnati schools, a bunch of the Catholic schools, you hear about them being top in the country all the time. So it wouldn't be a surprise. All they're from Ohio, they're probably pretty good.
Yeah. It's a solid assumption. And then the game ended, Lonzo, with a score line of 58-0.
That's it.
Well, and that's with IMG calling off the dogs late, by the way.
Okay.
Bishop Sycamore, as people started paying attention and going, wait, what happened here? Bishop Sycamore, it was pointed out on Twitter, Lonzo, after their game on Sunday, had played a game on Friday night. People thought, well, maybe they're a team. Some high schools will carry 2 rosters, right? They got tons and tons of players, so they'll build 2 teams. Not Bishop Sycamore, 1 team. So people started asking, wait a minute, this team was obviously not very good. They only had about 35 kids on the entire roster. So how did they end up on ESPN? Because they should not have been there. Their quarterback got hurt. Multiple other players got hurt. And when you started watching the game, you began to realize that this team did not have proper equipment. We're wearing mismatched jerseys. We're wearing mismatched helmets. They were not a proper team and should not have been there. And then it got even wilder as it was reported that their head coach has active arrest warrants out for fraudulent behavior in trying to keep this football team going. How ridiculous? Well, let's take a break. And when we come back, I'm going to tell you exactly the details that have ESPN and the network of sports hype promoter people that put this game together in a little bit of hot water. And what I've told you so far is tip of the iceberg ridiculous. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show. Listen on your Amazon or Google smart speaker. Just say, play ESPN Upstate. From the Ingalls Market Studio, this is ESPN Upstate. 97.7 FM Greenville, 97.1 FM Spartanburg. ESPN Upstate.
An Odyssey station.
Short break.
Have you wanted to speak a new language but thought it'd be too difficult or take too much time? Then try Babbel. Whether you want to learn Spanish for future travel plans, French to connect with extended family, or maybe German to land a new job, Babbel works because it's built around real life. It teaches you everyday practical conversations that you'll actually use. All you need is 15 minutes a day, and you'll be on your way to confidently speaking a new language in just a few weeks. Babbel is designed by real language experts using a modern, conversation-based technique that makes learning fun, engaging, and best of all, memorable. It starts by teaching you words and phrases. Then sentences gradually get more complex. Soon you're practicing short conversations about real-life topics. And with 14 languages to choose from and lesson topics like travel, business, relationships, and more, you'll be sure to learn what matters most to you. Babbel, language for life. Learn a new language with ease. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Pro football season's here, and pro roofers save valuable time with Beacon Pro Plus. Beacon Pro Plus works 24/7 for material ordering, order history, and automated promotion tracking, so you can get your favorite GAF roofing products even when working remotely. And now, order on Beacon Pro Plus and get a $175 gift card and a chance for
All right, guys. I'm sorry. All right? I fixed it.
How dare you? The audacity, Alonzo. The audacity. That was a short break. That was a short break.
Told you.
So we're talking about this Bishop Sycamore story. That's the high school that played IMG Academy over the weekend, and it became very obvious and very evident quickly into that game that they did not belong there. Bishop Sycamore High School. After people started to dig in, they found a forest of red flags about this school to wade through. And as we mentioned a minute ago, worst of all, that same team had played a game on Friday night, leading to some sincere health and safety concerns about the kids on that squad. So people turned to ESPN and said, yo, 4-letter, how are these guys allowed to play? Not just against a team that 100% was better than them, but 2 days after they had played a game against other top-tier competition, and ESPN put out an initial statement that said that they were booked by a company called Paragon Marketing. Paragon has been ESPN's partner on multiple events across different sports and high school programs. ESPN said, quote, "We regret that this happened and have discussed it with Paragon, which secured the matchup and handles the majority of our high school event scheduling. They have assured us that they will take steps to prevent this kind of situation from happening moving forward." Paragon president Rashid Ghazi said that they would have canceled the game had they known that the same kids played earlier in the weekend, but they believed that Bishop Sycamore perhaps fielded two teams with a split squad approach, but that is not true. Bishop Sycamore does not have two teams. In fact, the same quarterback played both games and frequently had players with the same numbers in the same alignments in both games. A lot of those players, on top of that, played both ways in both games, meaning those kids had 1 day of rest after playing offense and defense and then doing it all over again. And not just that, doing it again, but doing it again against one of the best teams in the country. The first game was played outside of Pittsburgh. Bishop Sycamore lost 19-17, and Trillian Harris was the starting QB for that game. Now, Harris was also the starting quarterback against IMG, and they tried to hide him by switching jerseys, switching numbers, but he wore the same helmet with the only red face mask on the team, so he, stood out just a little bit. A week ago, and this is where it starts to get interesting, people that were going through and looking through Bishop Sycamore, after realizing that Bishop Sycamore High School had mismatched helmets, looked like there was the potential that they had some players sharing helmets because they didn't have enough to go around, and despite the fact they only have 30 to 35 players, somebody found that the head coach of Bishop Sycamore had put up a GoFundMe to get money for the program, which is not all that uncommon, right? Like it used to be, Lonzo, that they would call us up to the high school on a Saturday morning and say, y'all are going to wash cars for 5 hours to raise money for pregame meals.
Or sell candy or,
right.
Yeah, or something like that. Yeah.
In the new age, you put up a GoFundMe and you hope people are kind. Bishop Sycamore's GoFundMe, a GoFundMe campaign seeking $20,000, which at the time of the game, Lonzo, had earned $200 to their GoFundMe.
$200?
Correct.
Okay.
I'm going to read this word for word as it's written. Quote, "We are Bishop Sycamore, a new football program getting established in Columbus, Ohio. We play a national schedule which is ranked 4 in the nation. We have gathered young men from all over the country in the pursuit of a similar goal. We currently need your assistance with helping these young men achieve their goal and inspire other young men to do the same. It takes a community to raise a child. Please be that community and help these young men, ! Please help us with funding, team meals, travel expenses, and equipment costs." Long story short, it doesn't sound, straight. A lot of shadiness here. Now, according to Max Preps, Bishop Sycamore, does have the 4th toughest high school football schedule in the country. According to Max Preps, they have multiple games scheduled against various national powerhouse programs. Friday's game seemed to suggest that Bishop Sycamore does not have more than one jersey in the rotation because they wore the same ones for both games, and it was hard to tell the players apart. You can also see that they were using players both ways one day after the next. So ESPN claims that they sounded the alarm to Paragon weeks in advance when they could not learn anything about Bishop Sycamore's roster, depth chart, or even any general information about the school. Then there was a conference call with ESPN days before the game where the two high schools were set to have a discussion about the game itself. Bishop Sycamore bailed on that conference call, and when asked to provide information about their team, sent a fact sheet that claimed multiple players had major D1 offers from power programs. ESPN said that they could not verify any of the information and claimed that they felt scammed. How bad did it get? Can I grab sound for this computers, please, Lodzo? Because I am going to play you a clip from the game itself, okay? This is from the announcers that were doing the game. These are ESPN announcers on ESPN.
Bishop Sycamore told us they had a number of Division I prospects on their roster. To be frank, a lot of that we could not verify. And they did not show up in our database. They did not show up in the databases of other recruiting services. So it's okay. If that's what you're telling us, fine. That's how we take it in. From what we've seen so far, this is not a fair fight. And there's got to be a point now, Ludes, where you do worry about health and safety.
I already am worried about it. I think it's this could potentially be dangerous given the circumstances and the mismatch that we have here. And quite honestly, Bishop Sycamore doesn't have not only the frontline players, but they don't have the depth in case something were to happen to their roster with maybe a kid or two here throughout the remaining 2.5 quarters of this football game. Those
were the announcers for ESPN going absolutely in on Bishop Sycamore High School. All right. A reporter at the game said, quote, their roster had a very small 30 to 35 players would be my guesstimate, and they had a bunch of injuries over the course of the game, which makes sense if they were playing for the second time in 3 days. Anish Shroff and Tom Luganbill were the 2 reporters that you heard calling the game. Pep Gridiron Logistic on Twitter said that the announcers were going into, already said all the top high school football programs in Ohio were given the opportunity to play IMG today. Bishop Sycamore was the only one to step up, stop defending the state of Ohio, and start giving kudos to Bishop football for their courage. Anish Shroff said, quote, sorry, they had no business being in that game today. None. I feel bad for the kids. Player health and safety was at risk today. It was uncomfortable for anyone who watched. Parker Branton said someone let Tom Luganbill interview Bishop Sycamore's coach after the game to find out what went wrong here and to identify the D1 recruits. Luganbill said, quote, no kidding, total scam, end quote. So here's a couple of things that ESPN might have missed. Last year, Bishop Sycamore played 6 games. They lost all 6 games, including a 56-6 loss to IMG. Their cumulative scoring margin, they were outscored 227-42 last year. People started looking into this and they found out some more stuff. Paragon said the timeline went that the 2 schools verbally agreed to play each other in May. Paragon recommended Bishop Sycamore, but was not involved in contracting or organizing the game, that they set it up on the outside and then let the schools work it out and then set up the TV side of things. Bishop Sycamore was later on looked into even deeper because there have been some other situations. Back prior to the 2020 season, in 2019, multiple games were canceled by Bishop Sycamore for either not providing a roster to organizers, not booking hotel accommodations, or opponents discovering the team was using players who were older than high school players, including one situation where they brought in a kid to play that had played at JUCO college football games.
All right. I had to look this up because I was curious about to where it was. Not that far away from where I grew up.
So here's the even more fun part. There doesn't appear to be an actual Bishop Sycamore High School.
Well, I just looked it up on Google Earth, and you can see it.
An actual school?
It looks like a school to me. So
because the head coach of this, in fact, I'm going to get to that in a second, because the head coach has been accused of using fake addresses as the center for this team, not actually attached to anything. I'm going to get to that in a second. So, Joseph Hoyt reported that back in 2019, Bishop Sycamore was scheduled to play against Point Pleasant High in West Virginia, but Point Pleasant canceled the game after they found multiple players on the Bishop Sycamore roster who were over 18 years of age. Many people have pointed out that Bishop Sycamore plays a lot of postgraduate players. Some have actually played in JUCO games and are a few years older than most high school athletes. In their games to date, the team has been shorthanded while also providing little to no information about its roster to anyone that has called their games on television. One guy who called a play-by-play game for Bishop Sycamore against Archbishop Hoban High School a few weeks back, put up a picture of the roster that he was given from Bishop Sycamore High School. Now, I've been calling play-by-play for football for many years. Lonzo, you ever called play-by-play on football?
I have not.
All right, perfect. You're an excellent test subject for this. If you walked in and were giving that as a roster to call play-by-play off of, do you think you could do it?
Where are the numbers?
Correct.
I haven't called it, but I've been in the booth for a bunch, so I know you need some things there to.
You don't ever had to have called it to realize that numbers on the roster, mucho importante.
Yeah, I've seen the difficulty of some play-by-play when numbers are like transparent or something, and how hard it is to call a game. I can't imagine not actually having the numbers. Yeah.
A company called Football Scoop did some digging into the program, and here is the report that they issued after the game was over. Quote, vanishingly little on Sycamore's founding exists on the internet. What appears to be the school's website, bishopsycamore.org, is basically a blog with its most recent post, May 21st, explaining how to catch a college recruiter's attention on social media. The website's About Us section is blank. The only hard proof I can find of the school's existence outside a football team is the Massillon Independent article from last September where, even in the most favorable light, this online-only prep school exists somewhere in between Finlay Prep and Prime Prep on the spectrum of alternative sports-focused high schools.
By the way, I thought that was the right address, and it turns out that was 304 South Grant Street. And when you look for 303, which is supposed to be the physical address, it looks like a parking lot.
There you go. Associate Athletic Director Dave Brown told the paper, quote, it seems like when you read about the school, you hear about things about, well, they just run aimlessly around or they're just trying to play football. I don't think that people understand that a lot of these young men, they really, really, really want to go to college. They really, 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 really want to be good fathers. The way to teach those things is through football. I don't think people understand that. They get so caught up in the football aspect of it that they don't realize there's actual people who want to do better in life. Further bolstering the amount of issues regarding Bishop Sycamore and different high school football message boards with accusations about the school. And here is where it gets fun. So when we come back, we finish up this story with some of the accusations against the head coach. And we ask the question, how the hell did this happen? How did these kids get put into that situation? That's to wrap up the first hour of the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
I thought some of those addresses and stuff sounded familiar. That's why I had to look. So. 5-6 minutes away from where I grew up.
Jennifer Wuczynski on ESPN Upstate. Currently, it's 82.
Keep up to date with every Upstate high school football game in real time with the ESPN Upstate score stream at ESPNUpstate.com. Set up a profile, create your feed, and follow your favorite teams. Know when the big plays happen and when the games go viral. The ESPN Upstate score stream. Get all the high school football scores in one place at ESPNUpstate.com.
It's been tough talking to my doctor about constipation, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. I finally laid all my symptoms out there and how they keep coming back. She said I may have irritable bowel syndrome with constipation, or IBS-C. We agreed it's time to try something different.
Linzess, or linaclotide, is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. Linzess works differently than laxatives. It lets you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually. Do not give Linzess to children less than 6, and it should not be given to children 6 to less than 18. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling. There could be more to your story with IBS-C. Visit a doctor in person or online. Say yes to Linzess. Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS. Sponsored by United Pharmaceuticals.
There's nothing worse than coming home from a hot day to find out that your AC unit isn't working. When this happens, you need an HVAC company you can trust. A company like Priority.
The cool or scary part about Google Earth is I was able to go up and down that street while you were talking, looking for the address.
Right.
It's like, okay, where is it?
I have taken like full tours of town on Google Earth. Actually, right after I got the job here, I had that like 2 weeks or 3 weeks before I moved here. I took a tour of downtown Greenville on Google Earth. I just sat in front of my computer and walked up and down the street. It's kind of fun to go places like you can go to, Tokyo, walk around Tokyo.
Well, if you look for the compound on Google Earth, all you see is trees.
Compound. On Google Earth in VR, that'd be kind of cool.
By taking a free health assessment. Don't let him or anything hold you back.
I already have that. It's called Skyrim.
Perhaps you can call someone from your hometown to see if they've ever heard of that school. Yeah, it's an online school, is what I'm getting here.
I was thinking of that. I was going to try to see, because I know the guy who's the play-by-play of my old high school, who was on my wrestling team.
Oh, this is going to be a tough one.
Hey, you saw what I was able to pull off the other day. You can do this.
Yeah, but no, I got a way worse angle from over there. And somebody pushed a trash can almost all the way up to the.
It was probably Diesel. See,
solo shot, son.
You doubted yourself.
Boom!
Look at that. First try.
Yeah, Keegan, I saw them and I love them. Give me all the Bishop Sycamore memes, all of them.
Summer might be ending, but rest and relaxation are year-round. From cooling mattresses with snow
Starting to see tweets about some other high school games being canceled.
For here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Whether you're looking for a new mattress, pillows, or even a dog bed for your best friend, Casper has something for everyone who sleeps. Go ahead, treat yourself to better sleep. You deserve it. Exclusions apply while supplies last. See Casper.com for more details.
Trophy hosts. Trophy hosts.
So a lot of people on message boards started talking junk about the head coach of this school, and some journalists have been able to confirm some of these facts. Back on September 25th, the Ohio High School Athletic Association said its representatives could not verify classes were taking place at the AME Church 3rd District headquarters at 112 Jefferson Avenue in Columbus, and it determined football games played against COF Academy would not count for points to qualify for the state playoffs. Now, at the time, all of that was being run by Roy Johnson, who is the head coach and started up Bishop Sycamore. There was multiple cases of alleged fraud and mismanagement. Johnson, as well as another man, are defendants in 2 cases accusing them of unpaid loans for $100,000. Multiple businesses and other private individuals are threatening lawsuits of their own against Johnson due to accusations of unpaid bills for services. For those reasons, Johnson and his attorneys have been assembling a lawsuit against the church, the AME church that he was once associated with, to try to clear his debt. The Richardson referenced in the feature is former Ohio State and NFL veteran Jay Richardson, who currently works as an analyst for Columbus, Ohio ABC affiliate WSYX. A news agency there was provided a link to an Ohio filing in Franklin County showing First Merchants Bank suing Roy Johnson and Jay Richardson and others for $100,000 over various types of fraud. Long story short, the defendants admitted they made representations to the bank in the form of having authority to enter into and execute on behalf of a local church a loan of $100,000. Those representations were material to the bank issuing the loan. They knew the defendants here knew the representations were false, end quote. So long story short, they lied about having agency in a local church. They did not have to pull out $100,000 to start up a football team. Here is what has happened with Bishop Sycamore. According to prepgridiron.com, Johnson formed an organization a few years back which collapsed and was unable to pay back a lot of those loans. So they folded that name and changed the name of that organization to Bishop Sycamore. In the 2 to 3 years since they've been Bishop Sycamore, they've used multiple fake addresses, multiple fake names, fraudulently attached themselves to actual charitable entities without those entities' knowledge or permission, and then created a fake school name to attach themselves to before giving that up and going back to just calling themselves Bishop Sycamore and using a fake address. This is not and never has been an actual school, and there is not and never has been a person named Bishop Sycamore. They use post-grad players, which is one of the many reasons they are not certified by the Ohio State Athletic Association, Ohio High School Athletic Association, or any other certifying body for high school sports. They and GSB lie online about their players, their facilities, and their fake D1 offers. Meanwhile, they barely have enough players to cover offense and defense, and they don't have enough uniforms, equipment, and helmets for all the players. It is a scam from bottom to top. This is the most ridiculous, out of control story that I have ever heard of before. Lonzo, I don't know how it got this far. The team has significant uniform and transportation issues. They have zero reputation because they're not actually a school. They have had players evicted from housing before once they found out that they weren't actually part of a real team. This story is insanity to me.
Vetting is a lot.
I'll tell you what. I suspect it won't be an issue from ESPN again. Unreal. All right, we got plenty more to get into when we come back. I'm Rob. He's Lonzo. 2 hours left. This is ESPN Upstate.
QC connects in the first break.
Outstanding.
Joseph just brought up Danny Almonte.
Say again?
Danny Almonte, remember Little League pitching? That was fraudulent too.
Do you get easily queasy?
It depends. Is it broken bones?
No. I am in a group, I think I've told you about it, of PA announcers from around the country.
Mm-hmm.
This guy said he just showed up to call a baseball game and was handed this microphone to call the game.
Well, all right.
He said, this is why I bring my own microphone.
Well, yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, that's not going to make me queasy, though. If it is handed to me, though, to use, Gonna use the old this thing. And they try not to look at it. I have followed behind people who their microphone smelled afterwards, like nasty coffee or something like that. And it's not.
I sincerely, legitimately keep a microphone in my car at all times, right? Because you just never know. Like I've been places before where I've had the opportunity, like I'll make friends with a guy playing guitar. Hey man, you want to come up and sing a couple? And I'm like, yeah, I'll grab a mic.
That's up to you. That's on you and your soul.
Hey, Greenville, Spartanburg. Catch the Rob Brown Show. Weekdays noon to 3 on ESPN Upstate.
The wait is almost over. Hey, Furman fans, Dan Scott here, inviting you to join me and the entire broadcast crew for the Paladin season opener, Saturday, September 4th versus North Carolina A&T, right here on ESPN Upstate.
Did you see what I sent you on Twitter?
Yes.
You already knew about that?
I saw it break right when we were coming on air. I'm trying to decide how I feel about it.
And check this out. Our unofficial Rob Brown lockdown. Represents me to win. Yeah. Real, unfiltered sports talk manufactured locally for the Carolinas. This is the Rob Brown Show. Yeah. Only on ESPN.
ESPN Upstate.
Hour number 2 of the Rob Brown Show, right back here on ESPN Upstate. Let's talk about the South Carolina thing for a second, shall we? So we know that Zeb Nolan is going to be the starter. We know that Zeb Nolan has been a graduate assistant. By the way, some people don't know this. Zeb Nolan played last year at North Dakota State. You know who he backed up at North Dakota State? That would be one Trey Lance. First round quarterback pick for the San Francisco 49ers, and a guy who's likely going to take over the role from Jimmy Garoppolo there at some point. I am intrigued to see how this kid's going to work out. I was reading a second ago where somebody said something along the lines of, this isn't as bad as it's being made out to be. It's not quite as big of a deal as it's being made out to be. Zeb Nolan is a guy that has experience. Zeb Nolan is a guy that has played quarterback, frankly, more recently than any other quarterback that's healthy on the roster. And I got to tell you, I don't think that's we know that's a fact, but it doesn't mean I'm not a little concerned. And my biggest concern about the whole thing is just depth, right? Just depth. Now, granted, and let's be abundantly clear about this. Lonzo, this is not Shane Beamer's fault, right? Like it's not on Beamer that he showed up. And by the way, what happens if Zeb Nolan isn't on this roster right now? They got to go with a red shirt senior transfer quarterback who couldn't get it done at the FCS level if Zeb Nolan's not on the roster. I guess the only optimism that stays on board here is optimism that is there because of the fact that he backed up Trey Lance. There's not many quarterbacks that would have taken Trey Lance's job at North Dakota State.
Is there a chance that Shane Beamer had the foresight to have this guy come in to be a grad assistant just in case something like this should happen?
I don't know that we can speculate on it, but I mean, maybe he had the foresight when the kid said, hey, I've got an interest, to go, okay, and, you got some eligibility too, just in case it gets a little weird. I don't know is the answer.
Especially in the COVID world we live in.
Yeah.
I mean, knowing that the guy has some eligibility, it probably was a plus in bringing him in to be a grad assistant.
And
see, I remember back in the day when Spurrier would put some guys out there he said was completely ready, and their eyes were so big. It was, deer in the headlights type of thing, and you're like, what in the world was he thinking? And Beamer might have been around for a couple of those, and maybe he doesn't want to do that to a kid that he knows is not ready.
I think Shane Beamer's looking at his roster and saying, this kid's got experience. He played behind Trey Lance and is the best we got. Good news for South Carolina is you got Eastern Illinois. It'd be kind of a bummer if you were opening with a Tennessee, right? Like, what if you were opening with Tennessee? That's a toss-up game. It's a game you want to win. By the way, I have been told that there is a better than average chance that Luke Doty may be back as early as next week. So this may be a one game fix. Unless, by the way, Luke Doty comes back and isn't good or isn't ready. In which case, maybe go back to Zeb Nolan. Maybe he gets another run at it. But if you're South Carolina, you got to be ready to run the ball this weekend, right? Like, you've got to be able to run the ball this weekend. I'm going to the offensive line, grabbing him by the face mask and going, this game has to be won by you. Not Zeb Nolan, not the wide receivers. This game has to be run by you in the trenches. We have to win the run game.
But at the same time, you're playing a lower tier team. That lower tier team still probably has a decent coach who looks at it and goes, man, they're just going to run the ball all the time. So we're going to stack the box. Maybe Zeb comes out and airs it out.
Please don't do that.
Because he's got one-on-one coverage, and the Gamecocks receivers are better athletes than the defense's cornerbacks, and they're getting open, and it could happen. Trying to be positive here.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm just not optimistic. I don't know. I'm just not optimistic. I want to be. Like, I'm trying to be. But you got to run the ball. It's all that's all this game comes down to, right? Like, it's just the ability to run the ball. I read through that. In fact, this morning, I was going through right after the announcement came that Zeb Nolan was going to be the starter for the Gamecocks. I went back and I was like, well, let me look at some of these previews. Some of the ones that were written weeks ago and some of the ones that have been recently written. First one I came up against was on Yahoo. And this is what got written by Yahoo Sports as their game preview. What's going to happen? This is all about the South Carolina passing game. Winning this won't be a problem. The Gamecock lines will take over, but can the offense throw without Luke Doty around? The projected starter is out with a banged up foot, and it could be a bit before he's back. There's this, then ECU, and then comes the SEC opener against Georgia. Jason Brown will likely get the first look at a deep group of backup options, but it'll be the rotation of backs Kevin Harris and Marshawn Lloyd that puts this away after a few drives. All right. I'm a little curious as to how they wrote that. The first sentence is, this is all about the South Carolina passing game. And the last sentence is, it'll be the rotation of backs Harris and Lloyd that put this game away. What?
All right. I just looked up Eastern Illinois' record.
Their own one this year.
Yeah. And last year they were 1-7.
I mean, I'm not saying they're good. But I am saying what you just said a second ago is accurate, in that I think they are absolutely going to stack the box. They're going to put 7 on the line, and they're going to challenge Zeb Nolan to beat him through the air.
The best in their conferences was Austin Peay. I think South Carolina's all right. I'm just saying.
South Carolina, as I told Corey Diaz yesterday, and by the way, Corey's going to join us later on in the show today as well to talk a little bit about Zeb Nolan since he's gotten eyes directly on him. As I told Corey Diaz yesterday, this is one of a handful of games that Carolina should be able to just roll the helmet out on the field and win the game, right? They should just be able to out-athlete Eastern Illinois. But that's what Michigan said about Appalachian State a few years ago. That's what Florida said. In fact, I didn't even think about that comparison. Let's go all the way back, Lonzo, to a handful of years ago when the Gators of Florida were playing Georgia Southern. Do you remember that game by chance?
I don't remember any Georgia Southern game.
You should remember this one because Georgia Southern went into Gainesville and beat the Gators, Lonzo. 0 completed forward passes for Georgia Southern. 0 completed forward passes. This is on that level, right? That was a game that by all accounts, that was 2013, 12, 13, something like that. Way back in the day, Georgia Southern took on Florida. They went down into the swamp, ran the triple option offense, 429 yards of offense, 0 passing yards. Right? And part of the reason...
What year was this?
2013.
Just wondering if Mark Ryan was in the stands crying.
This would have been, fortunately for him, I think this was the year after he left Destin. I think this was the football season after he and I weren't working together, because I suspect had that game happened while he and I were on the air together, I would not be working here right now. Okay? 0 completed passes, but part of the reason for that was because Florida just did not have anything working to be able to throw the football. They weren't a good football team at that point. Jeff Driscoll was their starting quarterback that year. Yes, that Jeff Driscoll. They lost to Georgia Southern. They lost to South Carolina that year. They got smoked by FSU that year. Of course, that was the year FSU won the national championship. So what a year for Florida. Lose to Georgia Southern, get smoked by FSU the next weekend, and then watch them go win a title. They went 4-8 that year. Their wins were Toledo, Tennessee, Kentucky, and Arkansas. That was it. Now, part of the reason why was because they had a young guy in at quarterback who just wasn't very good. And they never developed any routine or rhythm. And I am concerned about South Carolina. You asked me earlier if they lose this game, which I do not think that they will. Let me be abundantly clear. I'm still picking South Carolina to cover this game. I have not even been able to find a line on it. So Vegas is still comfortable that South Carolina will run this game.
I'm also curious, why is this game on at 7:00? Do they just need to fill out the schedule on the SEC network? Why is it on at 7:00?
Partially. I also think that they are going for, because the SEC schedule is not super great in week 1, right? You got Alabama, Miami, you got Clemson, Georgia. And outside of that, there's really no other crazy hype games. Tennessee's got Bowling Green. Kentucky's got Louisiana Monroe.
Yeah, but you're putting it up against Clemson, Georgia, like you're trying to hide it or something.
No, I don't think it's trying to hide it. I don't suspect they're trying to hide. I think they are effectively trying to you got LSU, UCLA on Fox. That's not a bad one. I don't know. So that's a good question. Auburn's got Akron at 7:00. Actually, Lonzo, the majority of the SEC games are all after 4:00. You got 2 at 4:00. You got 2 at 7. You got 2 at 7:30. You got 2 at 8. You got 2 at 8. Sorry, you got 3 at 8, and you got 2 at 8:30. So they're almost all late games this weekend. Bowling Green, Kentucky. Actually, no, you got more. Bowling Green, Kentucky is on the 2nd at 8:00. Oh, I'm lying to you. That last 8:00 game, Louisville Ole Miss, is on Monday. You got Louisville Ole Miss on ESPN. So on Saturday, which is the 4th, you got Kentucky at noon against UL Monroe. Arkansas's at home against Rice at 2:00. Alabama, Miami is at 3:30. La Tex at State at 4:00. Central Michigan at Mizzou at 4:00. Akron at Auburn at 7. Eastern Illinois at South Carolina at 7. 7:30 is Georgia Clemson. 7:30 is FAU Florida. 8:00 is Kent State Texas A&M. 8:00 is ETSU Vandy. And 8:30 is LSU at UCLA. So it's a late night for SEC. Which, fine. Texas says, do they fire Beamer if they lose to Eastern Illinois? No. Stop. Don't be dramatic. That's my job.
They do if they get blown out.
I think they fire him.
If South Carolina were to lose 52-0, it would not look good on his hiring for sure. That's not going to happen now.
I don't think it is either. Again, I absolutely think that South Carolina is going to win this football game. All right. Question is, how do they look coming out of it? What kind of momentum do they build coming out of it? We talked with Corey earlier this week, and what I said then, and I'll say it now. To me, we talk about how a team sets the tone for its season in weeks 1, 2, and 3. Allow me to be, as I just mentioned, just a touch dramatic here, Zoe. Weeks 1, 2, and 3 of this season set the tone for Shane Beamer's era, for his reign at South Carolina. Weeks 1, 2, and 3 set the tone for Shane Beamer. Now, I think he's done an incredible job. An incredible job of getting South Carolina fans optimistic, geared up, ready to go. We were in Columbia a couple weeks ago, picking up some hardware. I went down. I saw the campus. The fans were out and about, man. It was buzzing. You'd have thought it was game day.
It was buzzing in the awards ceremony too.
It was
for the Gamecocks.
Somebody made a Clemson reference, and the Gamecock fans were not having it. It was great. It was great. They are buzzing in Columbia, and Shane Beamer's done an outstanding job of getting them ready for that. But as somebody who drew a direct comparison to Willie Taggart in Tallahassee, when Taggart got there, I was an hour and 45 minutes from Tallahassee, just like I'm an hour and 45 minutes from Columbia. I was in Tallahassee a lot, just like I'll be in Columbia a lot. And just like in Tallahassee, when Willie Taggart got there, he was young. He had the swag. The boys were hyped. They were ready. Week 1, they came out. They swag surfed. They had the alternate uniforms. The music was dropping. It was fan-damn-tastic. And then, in the very first game of the Willie Taggart era, Lonzo, Miami kicked the dog snot out of Florida State. I mean, beat the hell out of FSU. And every bit of positive momentum that Willie Taggart had built for the 4 months leading up to kickoff came floating right out of Doak Campbell Stadium. And you could feel it on the air the next freaking Monday.
Well, if you are not at the stadium watching the game and you're at home and it's Saturday night and you're a Gamecock fan, a diehard Gamecock fan, you're watching Georgia Clemson instead in DVR in the Gamecock game.
Not in week 1, right?
The biggest chance for Clemson to lose, because they're not going to lose in the ACC, is against Georgia. Do you watch that game live and DVR the Gamecock game? Do you lose Do you lose fan points if you do that? Because I don't think you do. I think a lot of Gamecock fans are going to be watching Clemson, Georgia, and DVRing the Gamecock game and watching it the next day.
I mean, no, right? It's game one. It's week one.
Yeah.
It's week one.
But it's Clemson, Georgia. And
first, let me phrase it.
The chance to see your rival lose their very first game. And if you believe that even with Zeb as quarterback, the Gamecocks are going to win this game against inferior talent, which they should, aren't you watching Clemson, Georgia live, just hoping and wishing and being able to get all the joy out of it every time Georgia scores a touchdown?
Like, no, not week one, right? It's the new no. I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say if you're a South Carolina fan, you're watching your team, you want to feel the energy of that team under Shane Bieber.
You don't understand the hatred in this rivalry. There are
let me say this. I guess I'm gonna have to have the talk that I've had in other places. I love in every market I've ever gone to when I say something about a rivalry that I get you don't understand the hate in our. Yes, I do. Do you know why? Because I've been around a lot of rivalries. Your rivalry doesn't have more hate than FSU Miami, than Auburn Alabama, than FSU Florida, than LSU Arkansas. I've been around probably LSU Arkansas, but not LSU.
Ohio State, Michigan.
Ohio State, Michigan. I've been around all of them. All right. Your rivalry's not special. Y'all hate each other. Good. You should. It's more fun that way. All right. 844-477-3776, 844-GSP-ESPN. Text us on the Ingles Market text line at 71307. We got to run to a break. We're back after this right here on ESPN Upstate.
QC Kinetics.
Our friends at QC Kinetics want you to be able to live your life without pain, without hurt, without struggle, man. They do, and it's easy to make that happen. Go to their website, qckinetics.com, and you will see very quickly dozens and dozens and dozens of happy, satisfied QC Kinetics patients. As you get older, as the connective tissues inside of your knees and your elbows and your lower back and your ankles and your hips starts to wear down, things start rubbing against each other that ain't supposed to be rubbing against each other. They will get inflamed. That inflammation leads to that chronic pain. It sucks. Trust me. We've been there. And that's why we partnered up with QC Kinetics. Go to qckinetics.com to learn more, qckinetics.com, and find out how you can feel better without surgery, without drugs, without going under the knife, no steroids, just relief. Or call them right now at 864-448-3772, 864-448-3772. Mention the Rob Brown Show. Get that first consultation for free. It's our friends at QC Kinetics.
To the Panthers in exchange for a 2022 sixth rounder for Johnson. He was a 7th-round pick by Buffalo back in the 2019 draft, and he played in all but one of the team's games over his first 2 NFL seasons. He has 29 tackles, 5 quarterback hits, and 2 sacks in the regular season to go along with 2 postseason tackles. Panthers will get their season started a week from Sunday against the New York Jets. Download the Score app today. Lightning fast sports alerts so you never miss a thing. Is why the Score app is one of North America's most popular sports apps. With your ESPN Upstate Sports Center update, I'm Matt Pauley.
High school football fans, I'm Cole Bryson. Get the Scores, discussion, interviews, and more on the Saturday Morning Scramble powered by Downers Federal Credit Union. Every Saturday from 8 to 10 a.m. It's a reverse. Wayne Meadows, right side. Relax on and off the field with Founders Federal Credit Union. With services like Founders Online and the Founders app, you'll enjoy all the perks of a big bank with local personalized service. If you're looking for low rates, look to Founders. Not a member? Joining Founders Federal Credit Union is very easy. Visit relaxjoinfounders.com or one of our more than 30 office locations to see if you qualify for membership. But services require credit evaluation. Terms and conditions apply. Founders Federal Credit Union is federally insured by NCUA.
Hey, it's Bill Donovan from Breakaway Honda. Right now, we're having the great big Breakaway Honda SUV sale. We have brand new Honda SUVs with financing as low as 0%. Plus, Breakaway has the largest selection of new and used Hondas in the upstate. Easy financing, more for your trade-in, always a low-stress experience. Number one for a lot of reasons. You never have to settle for less at Breakaway Honda. 330 Woodruff Road or breakawayhonda.com. There's something I've always wanted to tell you before.
We'll get Jimmy in and out real quick, and then we've got that BetQL guest in the segment after that. The Giglio guy.
Like somebody opening a bag of chips during your favorite meal. Hey, Geico said he thinks lots of me.
What was his name again, Joe?
Joe Giglio.
So we're taking a break or we're calling?
Yeah. We'll get Jimmy real fast.
Okay. All right.
We can help you out. Let's start with a free battery set. You just need a charge, we can help with that too. If you need a new battery, we've got a wide selection of replacement batteries, starting at just $79.99, and with a home place on proven tough Duralast batteries, including Duralast Platinum, AGM, and EFD technology. That's why we're America's #1 battery destination. And based on that,
Opinions one. Opinions.
We get Jimmy in here real quick before we run to our break. We got Joe Giglio of BetQL. We'll look at some early college football lines when we come back in just a minute. But let me get Jimmy in here before we run to that break. Jimmy, welcome in, big guy.
Hey, guys. Man, I'm a Gamecock fan. I want to see my Gamecock, but don't get me wrong. Come a commercial break, I'm flipping over. I mean, why wouldn't I want to see what's going on with two of the top teams in the country?
First off, do y'all, Jimmy, do y'all know in South Carolina you're allowed to have more than one TV in a room? That's not against the law here, is it?
Yeah, but one TV in a room is enough for me. I've got like 5 TVs spread out through the house. You know, I could probably switch it, but I'd rather just flip it back and forth during commercials. And if South Carolina blows out Eastern Illinois like I hope they do, then I'll finish watching the Georgia-Clemson game. Because as I said, if Clemson can beat Georgia, because Georgia, from what I understand, got a bunch of transfer portal guys that are 5-star. So if Dabo and Clemson can beat Georgia with all that talent that Georgia's got, can't say a whole lot bad about Dabo, even though I'm a Gamecock fan.
Hey, appreciate the phone call, Jimmy. Good to talk to you, man. Thanks for jumping in. Look,
Rob, not everybody has that awesome radio salary that you do and the ability to have multiple TVs in one room.
Oh, no, listen. I didn't say they were all big TVs. I have a big TV, and then I scattered the small TVs around it. Point is, Clemson, Georgia is a huge game. Of course I want to watch both. I'm just saying, if you're a Gamecock fan, South Carolina, it's the first game of your new coach's regime, man. You are going to find out a lot about what Shane Beamer is bringing to the table.
Yeah, but, DVR will help you with that. It's not like South Carolina's playing Georgia or some big team. It's Clemson could lose to Georgia. They absolutely could.
You guys know you're not limited to watching one game at a time, right? Like, how is it every time this comes up, people are like, well, I'll have one TV over here, and then I'll flip over. Just put one on the laptop, put one on the TV. Watch them both. Put your team up on the big TV.
See, here's the thing.
Put Clemson on the little TV and enjoy it.
I get that you have the ability to multitask. So do I. because of doing multiple things on the radio at the same time. If I'm doing, I can't just watch one thing. I've got to have some other stuff going on, or it seems like, not saying that I get bored, but it feels lesser. So not everyone's like that, though. Most people are like that.
Joe Giglio of BetQL.com joins us in the next segment. We'll take a look.
I was just saying you and I are special. That's all.
I know we are. We have hardware that says so. I've got it. Let's take a break. We're coming back here in just a minute. I'm Rob. He's Lonzo. This is ESPN Upstate.
Ooh.
Right?
Question is, though,
how much money am I about to spend on dice that light up?
What is powering that, and what happens when it's no longer powered?
Well, then when it runs out, you just have regular dice. But
yeah, but that would suck.
It'd be cool if you made those, like if they could make those with the this weekend. Joe, my man, happy Tuesday, buddy. And more importantly, happy week one of college football, pal.
That's right. Happy everything. The best part of the year is about to hit us right now.
Telling you, man, most wonderful time of the year. That song about Christmas was all wrong. It's today. Today's the best one, the most wonderful time of the year. Joe, I wanted to, if you don't mind, run over some college football lines with you because there's a couple that I found very, very intriguing over the weekend. One of the first ones that jumped out to me, and I don't know if I'm suffering from recency bias or this is just a line that's interesting. Ohio State opens up Thursday night against Minnesota. FanDuel has them as minus 13.5. Does that feel like, am I just overconfident in Ohio State to think that almost is free money?
Well, I would say this. It depends on which Minnesota team we're getting. Because a couple of years ago, that Minnesota team was pretty good. And they were a game team. And you see Minnesota 2 years ago getting almost 2 touchdowns. You might jump on that. I don't know what we're getting out of Minnesota. I think they're going to be better. I think they're going to be closer to the team they were 2 years ago and be a competitive team. I would probably take their over on the win total. And Ohio State obviously working in a new quarterback. But I don't think you're crazy. Ultimately, I think Ohio State will find a way to cover this number, even though it's big. When you have the Buckeyes and you have that kind of talent, I think that you give a good coach, and Dave's a good coach, extra time to prepare over the full summer for this first game. I would take Ohio State too, but I do think Minnesota will bounce back this season.
Talking to Joe Giglio from BetQL about some of the opening weekend college football lines since we have gotten all the way to week one. I saw that, and I know we've lost Justin Fields, who looks really good at Chicago. A lot of people think that is going to be a huge blow, and there were question marks about the quarterback. But Ryan Day's got so much talent there at Ohio State. Now, I've seen a lot of places have it up above 14, but I just think if you can still get it at 13.5, it's the right play.
Yes, I agree. Once you get over the 2 touchdown mark, that magic number, the hook there to go to 14 or 14.5, I probably wouldn't play that game at that number. But if you find it like you found it on FanDuel under 14, I think it's hard to walk away from the Buckeyes, against most, okay teams when they're only given, that few points.
All right, another game I'm intrigued by, and I don't know if this is just because I'm a college football fan or if because I'm intrigued by the fact that I have seen a spread in this line from 3 points up to 4, but Alabama taking on Miami. Every year, the Miami Hurricane fans will try to convince you that they are back, that this year Manny Diaz is definitely found it. I'm looking at Alabama. I've seen them some places minus 17.5. I've seen them as high as minus 21. What a weird line. And B, is there a number there that you're intrigued by Alabama to cover that high?
Yeah, if I could find it under the 18 mark somewhere, if I could find anything in the 17 range, I would take it. I mean, they're going to win this game. I mean, this is, on name brand value, this feels like, oh, wow, it's Alabama, Miami. But you said every year with Miami, it's like, oh, yeah, okay, maybe this year they're back. I don't buy it. This year I haven't bought it for the last couple of years. I am intrigued to see what the Eric King, the quarterback there, could do, and if he could put himself in the Heisman Trophy conversation after week one if he plays well, even if his team loses to Alabama. So that's an intrigue to watch this game. But if I could find this, you said it could go all the way to 3 touchdowns. I would stay away if it gets near a magic number over 20.5 to 21. I wouldn't touch it. But if it's under 20, under 19, I would play it because I just think Alabama's roster depth will just win out. I mean, they'll just wear this Miami team out in the trenches as the game goes along.
Talking to Joe Giglio from BetQL. All right. Looking at the Georgia-Clemson game, that obviously the big game of the weekend up in our area, right up the road in Charlotte, North Carolina. I have seen this as close as a 3 to 3.5 point game. Clemson seems to be given the edge over Georgia. And I got to tell you, from the folks I've talked to, Joe, nobody really seems to know what to do with a Clemson minus 3.5 point line. I can't bring myself to put anything on this game because I just don't know in week one.
Yeah, it's probably a stay away. It's just one of those you watch and you enjoy it and you kind of make your decisions on these teams after this game. But I will say, if forced to pick, I would take the points with Georgia. I understand how good Clemson is and how good they've been for so long, and what Dabo has built to that program, that you take them to not cover or to lose, you feel silly most of the time. But Georgia's loaded. I mean, it would not surprise me this year if Georgia is in the playoff and if they find their way to a championship game. That's I haven't been this high on Georgia in a long time. I think this team is for real, and I think that if they, they're getting 3.5 points. If you find them at that number and you get the hook over the field goal, I would take them. I think it's a really close game, and when in doubt, I'll take the points with a team that could be in the playoffs a few months from now.
Yeah, and I agree with you on Georgia. I think Georgia absolutely is a team that could be in the playoffs, and I'm curious to see how the rest of the East shapes up. I think Florida is taking a step back this year. I'm hoping for the Gamecock fans in the area, South Carolina will get better, but obviously they're nowhere near contention. It basically comes down to the SEC championship game, but I think if Georgia is going to get in the playoff, they kind of have to know. I mean, if they're going to take an L, it's Clemson up front. But I got to think Georgia and I got to think Kirby Smart attack this like it's their Super Bowl, right?
They have to, yes. I mean, because this is the jumping off point that we start putting Georgia in that conversation, because we always have them on the periphery of the conversation. It's always like, yeah, Alabama and Clemson, Ohio State, and I guess maybe Georgia. Like, we never really take it seriously because they haven't been there. They haven't shown us year in, year out they could be one of those playoffs. If they beat Clemson in week 1, they're on the map. They're kind of in the driver's seat, and we'll talk about them all year.
We are talking to Joe Giglio from BetQL. He is the host of BetQL Daily and a BetQL Insider. All right, I got a question mark about a game I am intrigued by. And it's one that I know a lot of people don't have faith in this team right now, which is why I think the line is where it is. Florida State is at home against Notre Dame. And there are questions about Mackenzie Milton likely going to get the nod. The UCF kid who had his knee blow out looks like he's going to be the starter for FSU, but they've got other options there. I have seen them as much as a 10.5 point dog at home. Notre Dame, a team that in years past has taken some time to get into a rhythm and a routine. Am I nuts for maybe wanting to look at FSU minus 10.5 at home in week 1?
Yeah, you're not nuts, and you're right about Notre Dame. They do take some time, and we're going on the every other year program with Notre Dame. Every time it seems like they are a tremendous team, a team that could go to the playoffs, a team that we talk about in that realm like last year. They usually come back down to earth the next season. It's been this on-again, off-again thing with Brian Kelly there. So if that's the case, we're probably going for an off Notre Dame year, even though I don't think they'll be bad, but I do think Notre Dame takes a step back this year. A new quarterback at Notre Dame, so that's going to take some time. Yeah, I do think this is a difficult spot for Notre Dame. Just big picture, on the road, FSU, crazy crowd. I don't think it's easy for a new quarterback to come in there and kind of settle things down. I would lean towards Notre Dame winning, but the idea of points and FSU, I think it's an interesting play.
Yeah, I like I said, I think that Mike Norvell last year kind of got that program pointed in a different, I'm not going to say good, but different direction. It seems to be all green flags out of there. Mackenzie Milton, I'm hoping, will be the comeback player of the year. I don't know that week 1 line. If this was week 5, 6, and Notre Dame had some warm up time under Brian Kelly, I think I would feel differently. But if I can get it at 10.5, I don't know that I'd take it at a touchdown, but if I can get it at 10.5, I like it.
Yes, and that's it. If you get it over 7, that's when I start to jump in. Anything over 7, you feel like late that game might shift and the line might become something you could take advantage of late in that game.
We are talking to Joe Giglio, BetQL Insider, host of BetQL Daily. Any other plays this weekend in the world of college football, Joe, that jumped out to you early that people can take advantage of?
Yeah, so I really like Indiana on the road at Iowa. I think Indiana's good, and I think their quarterback dual threat is going to really be a storyline this season. And I just, Iowa is what they are. They're okay. There's nothing special about that football team, and I didn't think it would be picked off early. The other one is Wisconsin at home. I would take them minus 5.5 against Penn State. Penn State should rebound this year. I don't like their quarterback, though, and I think James Franklin, for as good of a recruiter he is a butcher of an in-game coach. Like, that guy will lose games in the game. I've seen it so many times within Big Ten games, especially on the road or against ranked opponents. He just finds a way to lose. He's a really bad in-game coach. So if I could fade James Franklin against a good Wisconsin team, I will do that. So a couple Big Ten plays I like. I like Indiana on the road, in Iowa, and I do like Wisconsin to cover against Penn State.
I love that Wisconsin game as well. I agree with you on that one entire. Joe Giglio is the host of BetQL Daily. You can find it wherever you find your podcast, and check us out through Odyssey.com as well. Joe, my man, appreciate it as always, bud. We'll keep an eye on how we did this weekend. Check back in next weekend with NFL Week 1, man.
Anytime. Can't wait. You have a good week.
You too. Thank you very much. It's Joe Giglio from BetQL joining us here on the Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate. When we come back here in just a minute, Lonzo and I, are you still coming? Are you coming tonight to the thing, to do the thing that we're doing?
I don't want to, but I committed to do it because I have a little bit of.
I do not want to do this
because I'm a little bit afraid.
Oh, it's gonna suck.
Yeah.
Until we don't suck anymore.
Yeah, we can elaborate when we come back.
Oh, this is the tease, Lonzo. This is the tease. Lonzo and I are going to do something awesome tonight. We'll tell you what it is when we come back and how you can get involved the next time it rolls around in 2 weeks on the Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate.
Prisma.
Prisma Health, the official healthcare provider of both the Gamecocks and the Tigers. And if the Gamecocks and the Tigers can agree on, literally anything, it's good, right? Like, it's good at that point. And they do. They both use Prisma as their official healthcare providers. Prisma Health of the Upstate has over 2,400 healthcare providers within their network. Plus, they have locations all around the Midlands, all around the Upstate, so that there is a location that is convenient, that is easy to and for you. Ladies and gentlemen, if they agree, you will agree. Trust me. Go to prismahealth.org to learn more. Get yourself signed up. Learn all about their My Chart feature so you can keep an eye on your health. You can keep your finger on the pulse. See what I did there? It's a healthcare pun. See? Finger on the pulse. You can check out their My Chart feature. You can sign up for a virtual appointment so you can meet your doctor face-to-face, even if you can't meet your doctor face-to-face. Go to prismahealth.org and find out how they're making your health their priority. It's Prisma Health right here in the Upstate.
Tonight, a chance for showers and storms, cloudy and near 70. By Wednesday, chance for showers and storms, a high around 82. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Buchitsky on ESPN Upstate. Currently, it's 84.
Keep up to date with every Upstate high school football game in real time with the ESPN Upstate score stream at ESPNUpstate.com. Set up a profile, create your feed, and follow your favorite teams. Know when the big plays games go viral. The ESPN Get all the high school football scores in one place.
I know he had said that he would play it. It doesn't mean that he has been cast. And how can he pull off the before?
I mean, he is the before.
I know, but I guess Ben Grimm has always been a little bit stocky.
Yeah.
But I think he'll do a great job. I mean, his acting has improved a ton. Who's a better actor, he or The Rock?
The Rock. The Rock.
I think Cena's catching him.
No, it's The Rock.
They both kind of play the same character every single time themselves, but
Tickets start at $10 and will go fast. So get yours today at TriumphTix.com. That's TriumphTix.com. Triumph Soccer. Go for the goals. Stay for the triumph. Prescription products require an online consultation. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information.
My husband's ED was affecting our marriage. When he first started experiencing ED, it was difficult for both of us. We didn't know
my husband with a licensed provider online. He was able to get medication to treat his ED at a fraction of the price people pay for the name brand. It was delivered to our door, and guess what? Our sex life is back. It works.
Right now, get your first online provider's visit totally free when you go to forhims.com/joy. Yep, free. No copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face.
Marshawn Lloyd is listed on the roster as 5'9", 215. That's a bowling ball, man.
Yeah, that's why he was. People were so excited for him that first year, and then he got
Kevin
hurt.
Harris is 5'10", 220.
You almost might think that they're kind of going for the same kind of back.
Well, so they've got, here's a running back room. So Quandre Wright, 6'1", 215. Marshawn Lloyd, 5'9", 215. Kevin Harris, 5'10", 220. Juju McDowell, 5'9", 177.
One of these things is like the other.
Do you dig stuff like this?
Yeah.
I think it's cool. Like, why do you want your house not to look like a party, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's dope.
We're here to take over. Bring the best sports talk show in South Carolina. The Rob Brown Show, only on ESPN Upstate.
So, you know what Tuesdays are for here in the Upstate, right? Curling! Ladies and gentlemen, this afternoon at 7 p.m.
That's not afternoon. Well, it is afternoon, but that's evening, dude.
My schedule's like 3 hours behind a normal person's.
Yeah, okay.
Like, I'll eat dinner after I get home from that.
That's weird.
Lonzo and I are going curling, y'all. We're going curling. The Palmetto Curling Club, which is based right here in the Upstate, is doing an open house this evening where they are going to teach us how to curl, and they have invited us out to participate. The catchphrase on their website is, like throwing heavy rocks at houses? Don't get enough sweeping at home? Come curl with us. And I went, okay, I think I shall.
All right, I'm not worried about the sweeping part. I am worried about the throwing of the rock because of the bending.
Oh yeah, you got to do the all the way down to the ground slide.
Yeah, that is my concern.
Are you gonna be like that kid in high school and be like designated sweeper?
I don't know, and it's because of reconstructed knee, I have a few ailments that sometimes I avoid doing things, and it looks like I'm being wimpy, but I just don't want certain things to decide to go to unravel.
I am pumped about this.
And falling on the ice, not one of my favorite things.
Oh, I suspect I'm going to spend a solid hour on my ass. Like a solid hour is just going to be on the ground.
And the fact that every time I fall or Rob falls, there will be a picture taken by one or the other of us.
So here's the thing. So a couple of years ago, I almost had the opportunity. I almost had the opportunity to, and by the way, Stathaga says, what time is that again? Still time to join. It's at 7 p.m. If you are interested, go to palmettocurling.com. Palmettocurling.com. I believe you can still register. Yeah, the register button's still open, so you should be able to. Palmettocurling.com. You can register there to come curl with us at 7 p.m. this evening. And if you can't make it tonight, there is another one on September 14th. I will be there for that too, because your boy is going to make the Olympics. All right. That's my goal. I go into this, Lonzo, thinking I've never curled before, so I'm setting a minimal goal of make the Olympic team in 12 years.
It's realistic.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, why not?
It's the only sport remaining I have a chance in.
You're still a young man. You can do that.
So a couple of years ago, I was working for a TV station down in Pensacola. I was actually working for TV and radio at the same time. And because I was working for TV and radio at the same time, I was extended an invitation, Lonzo, to go up for a flight with the Blue Angels, the United States Navy's flight demonstration team. So I was offered a chance to fly with the Blue Angels. And then at the last minute, the invite, for reasons I am unclear about, yet also am perfectly clear about, were shifted and given to somebody else who worked at the radio station, at the television station, who, let's just say, Lonzo, filled out a flight suit better than I did. All right? Just is what it is. It is the one thing.
So you're saying?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. So, anyway, I didn't get to go up. Well, as anybody who knows me will tell you, Lonzo, I get dizzy and throw up very easily. Okay? Like if I'm in a chair like the office chair I'm in right now.
I was going to say, I didn't know, but I saw a little bit earlier just looking at a picture. So, yeah.
If I get spun in a circle, I get very dizzy. If I get spun in multiple circles, I will throw up or pass out. Like when I go to an amusement park, Zoe, I went to Dollywood a year ago with the lady friend towards the beginning of our relationship. When I get to an amusement park, it is a race to get as many roller coasters in as I can, because once I get dizzy, I'm done, right? So my little brother's like, dude, you could not go up the Angels because they would be flipping and twisting and flying circles and all that. You would puke on yourself. And I said, here's the thing. If I went up with the Blue Angels and I threw up on myself and I got out of that plane and I crawled down the cockpit of that FA-18 in a Blue Angels flight suit with my name on the badge, with a helmet with my name on it, with my name stenciled on the side of the plane, I could be covered in every bodily fluid and I'd still be cooler than you because I just flew with the Blue Angels, right?
You're absolutely right on that.
Yes.
For sure.
I could be covered in and I would still be cooler than you because I just flew with the Blue Angels and my name's on the flight suit and on the freaking plane. If somebody wants to take pictures of me tonight after eating it on the ice, learning to curl, that's cool. But I am on my way to the Olympics. All right? Judge me as you will. PalmettoCurling.com. Sign up, come curl with me tonight. Zoe's going to be there too. Maybe.
Wow. Come curling with me. Thanks.
Well, you're going to be... Oh, God. That's Lonzo. It's the Lonzo Show on Lonzo PN Upstate. And
all this we stuff, and then suddenly it's just you. I was going to go. Now
you are going to go.
I'm not going now.
The postseason for the Nascar Cup Series begins on Sunday at Darlington. One of 3 races at Darlington this weekend. The Xfinity Series running on Saturday. The Trucks and the Cup Series on Sunday. The entry list has been set. Some of the extra drivers include Joey Gase, Cody Ware, Justin Haley, and BJ McLeod. This will be the first race since the playoff field was set. 16 drivers are still alive for a Cup championship. Kyle Larson, Ryan Blaney, Martin Truex Jr., Kyle Busch, Chase Elliott, Alex Bowman, Denny Hamlin, William Byron, Joey Logano, Brad Keselowski, Kurt Busch, Christopher Bell, Michael McDowell, Eric Almirola, Tyler Reddick, and Kevin Harvick.
Download the Score app today. Lightning fast sports alerts so you never miss a thing. It's why the Score app is one of North America's most popular sports apps. With your ESPN Upstate Sports Center update, I'm Matt Pauley.
Have you heard the Rob Brown Show?
He is the Murder Hawk, Lance Archer, joining us here on the Rob Brown Show at ESPN Upstate. That TNT championship.
So what do we have? We have Lance. We have Britt Baker, DMD. We have Matt Hardy. We have Tony Atlas. Who am I missing? There's one more, right? Archer, Hardy, Baker, Atlas.
I don't know. I had quite a few on Mark's show too, so I get them a little confused.
Did we have one more Hall of Famer on? Oh, we did.
Who did we have from Comic-Con? Jerry Lawler.
Jerry the King. That's who it is.
Gets underway at 2 o'clock. Game action, scores, highlights, interviews, you'll get it all. That's Saturday, September 4th, Furman and North Carolina A&T, and it's all here, exclusively on the flagship station for Furman Sports, ESPN Upstate.
Golf cart in the first break.
All right. Hour number 3. The Rob Brown Show is right here on ESPN Upstate. Hello, Upstate South Carolina. I'm Rob Brown. The great one, Colonel Grudge, the alpha and the omega of ESPN Upstate. The pinnacle of professionalism himself, Lonzo, is at the board. Lonzo, are you going to throw stones tonight? You've made it sound like you're coming.
I'm about to throw some stones in the room.
I brought up curling and you were like,
All right, here's the deal. Here's the real reason why I'm acting the way I am. I know I'm going to be better than Rob, and Rob's so excited about, doing this, and I'm going to go in and I'm going to be a natural, and Rob's really going to have to work at it. I have experience on ice because, I grew up around snow and ice. Rob, Florida. I mean, not a lot of snow and ice there. So really what it comes down to is I'm trying to be humble. I'm trying to let the host be built up. And then he'll see the true talent that is me, and I feel bad for you. So I contemplated not going because I don't want you to feel like that goal is out of reach. But after you see me do it for the first time, and you're like, wow, why can't I be Lonzo? And it wouldn't be the first time that you thought that. Yeah, I didn't want to do that to you, but you pressed me. So there we go.
Okay. This went from, wow, it's going to be so much fun to learn how to curl this evening, to I am going to walk out of there with an invitation to the next Olympic trials. That's how good I have to be at this now. Unbelievable. This went from a fun little outing for the casting crew of the Rob Brown Show to somebody's going to get murdered today.
And I'm going to walk out there and they're going to say, there goes Lonzo and.
Oh, God. And. All right, 844-477-3776, 844-GSP ESPN. Texas at 71307. Let's do clip number 5. I have an apology to make. Ladies and gentlemen, I have an apology to make because yesterday we were sitting in the office and a clip came up of Dan Orlovsky. Yes, that Dan Orlovsky. Dan Orlovsky was asked about the Cam Newton, Mac Jones scenario playing out with the New England Patriots. And he went off on a tangent saying that Mac Jones had clearly beat out Cam Newton for the starting position. And I thought, I feel like Orlovsky is being a little bit over the line here. I feel like he's taken it a step too far. I feel like he's a little passionate. Here is what Dan Orlovsky said on the ESPN yesterday.
Orlovsky, who should the starting quarterback in New England be?
It should be Mac Jones. Mac Jones today is the better player. Mac Jones 3 or 4 months from now is going to be the better player. And I'm aware of what that means because Cam Newton has been very good. He's been very good. And this is not a situation where Cam gave away the starting job. This is a situation where Mac Jones went and took it. He seized the opportunity. He's been great in the play action game. The ball comes out so quickly. I said going into the draft, and even more so now, Mac Jones just plays fast. In these close quarterback competitions, when you have one player that's older, one player that's younger, I always lean on going to a player that's younger. I think this would close the gap. With Mac Jones as the quarterback, I believe this closes the gap with New England and all the other really good teams in the AFC, mainly Kansas City, Cleveland, and Buffalo. And if Mac Jones is their starter, which he would be for me, I put him at the very top of the list for Offensive Rookie of the Year.
So, Orlovsky went, Mac Jones might be your Offensive Rookie of the Year. And Lonzo may be able to confirm this, sat back in my chair and went, Orlovsky, come on, bro. And I will tell you that I still am going to sit back and say, Orlovsky, come on, bro, because I think declaring him the Rookie of the Year is a little much. Like a little much. But I will say Orlovsky deserves an apology because I was ready to come on the air and call him a nerd. And all he did was nail the call. Now, I think, as I mentioned earlier, I think the Patriots cut Cam Newton for 2 reasons. Number one, I think that Mac Jones has done enough at this point to show that he is the future for the Patriots. And unfortunately, Cam Newton plays a different enough style of offense that keeping around that guy as the backup doesn't make sense, right? I mean, so, and this, I'm assuming this makes sense. If you got a guy that plays like Mac Jones as your starter, you want a guy that plays like Mac Jones as your backup, right?
Absolutely, because you don't want to have to change the offense if he should go down or something. You want to be able to use the same plays, and if not, you'd have to retool everything.
Yeah. If you got a guy like Mac Jones as a starter, you want a guy like Mac Jones as the backup, and there's only a handful of spots that I think you have a backup that's so talented that you take the shot. But the second reason is, because I think Cam Newton would be that guy, the second reason that I think Cam Newton got cut, I'm not trying to politicize it, but some people are going to accuse me. That's okay. Here's the reality. Last year, Cam Newton got the Rona. Cam Newton had to miss some time. When Cam Newton came back from the Rona, he was an average quarterback. And when he came back from the Rona as an average quarterback, he blamed it on the Rona. Brain fog, said the fog was real. He couldn't get past it for a while, et cetera, et cetera. And that's fine. I believe him. But then this year rolled around and he decided not to get the vaccination, which means that he is subject at any point to once again get the Rona. And if Bill Belichick was going to entrust him with the starting position, he wants to know that you are reliable. And you don't have to like it, but if you're in that position where you're around that many people all the time, your reliability can be called into question. And at the end of the day, Hoodie is a guy who, if you are not reliable, will massacre you off that team. How many times have we watched guys that were big time? I mean, big time Patriots players get run off the roster by Hoodie to the point that we all went, whoa, you cut that guy. It's simply because Bill Belichick did not trust the reliability of that player. And he will cut you, whether you are Brady, whether you are Welker, or anybody else. If he does not believe in your reliability, then he will not keep you on the team. And I think that's what this came down to. He was already going to be a guy that was difficult to make the team because of the fact that he was so different from Mac Jones' style, and Mac Jones is a future. And Hoodie did not trust his A, availability, and B, reliability. Which, pardon me for being cliche, but the most important ability is your availability and your reliability. And I suspect Hoodie did not trust either one of those. Let's do this. We're going to run to a break because when we come back, we have breaking news this morning that South Carolina Gamecocks are going to send out Zeb Noland as their starting quarterback this Saturday against Eastern Illinois. Corey Diaz is the Gamecocks beat reporter for the Greenville News. Normally joins us on Monday, but he's actually going to do a special segment with us next segment to talk with us about the decision to go with Zeb Noland and how that played out to lead Noland to be the starter this weekend against Eastern Illinois. That's next on the Rob Brown Show. Rob Lonzo, it's ESPN Upstate.
Golf cart.
$2021 Upstate Golf Cart is on sale now, ladies and gentlemen. And from now through next Monday, Labor Day, it is not $99. It is $50. It is $50. $50 is getting you 9 rounds of golf on 9 of the most beautiful, prestigious courses around the Upstate. I've knocked off 4 so far, and it has already been worth my money. It will be worth yours as well. Get yours now by going to upstategolfcard.com, upstategolfcard.com. When you get there, you can grab yourself one of the golf cards for just $50 through next Monday and play 9 rounds of golf at 9 beautiful courses for less. What's that work out to? Like $7.50 a round? 50 cents a hole? Less than 50 cents a hole? I mean, I'm bad at math, but even I can see that that's a great deal. Go to upstategolfcard.com to get yours now. It's the 2021 Upstate Golf Card. buttons to push. So this is why I can't. This is why Lonzo is the executive producer. Just a guy, not just a guy, but the guy for insider information on your Gamecocks of South Carolina. From the Greenville News, he is the Gamecocks beat reporter. He is Corey Diaz, joining us here on the Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate. Normally joins us on Mondays to talk a little bit of Gamecocks football, but we had a little bit of breaking news this morning. We talked quarterbacks with my man Corey here on the show. Corey, what's up, fella? How we doing, man?
What's going on, man? Long time no talk, right?
I know. It just seemed like it's been so long. It was the right time. By the way, Corey just literally wrapping up his post-practice presser with Shane Beamer and immediately jumps on the phone line to talk football with us. That's the kind of dedication to the gig that Corey brings to this table. What did Shane have to say about quarterbacks, man? That's the big news for the day.
Yeah, man. Obviously, we knew coming into the week, with the way last week ended, and there was no, official decision made. Obviously we knew kind of Tuesday was going to be the target date, in terms of when we were going to know who was going to start for South Carolina on Saturday in the opener against Eastern Illinois. And if any of your listeners had kind of been follow along, man, with some of my work on the GreenvilleNews.com, man, this was something that I projected. I projected that Zeb was going to be the starter in game one. I just felt like, listening to some of the players, Marcus Satterfield, the offensive coordinator, even Shane himself, just kind of talk about this quarterback race for the last couple of weeks. It just kind of felt like the momentum had been leaning toward, one of the more rare, unique, unthinkable, unimaginable, whatever adjective, man. I feel like there's probably 30 or 40 adjectives that you might could use for a situation where a grad assistant coach turned football player goes literally 2 weeks to the day was the first media viewing period that we had of practice where we all noticed, who the hell is that number 25 running around out there. And, that was the day that Shane came in. We weren't even supposed to talk to him and kind of filled us in on the situation. Obviously with Luke going down that Friday before, needed some depth in the quarterback room, man. And they had someone on staff that still had a year left of eligibility, that had literally was just 3 months removed from playing in a big time FCS playoff game, man. And, Shane said today that, that first day of Zeb out there at practice with the quarterbacks, he said that, it looked and felt different, that Zeb brought, a little bit of a spark to that position, in the absence of Doty. And so, so you go from there, man. And really it was kind of, he just kept progressing, man. He kept progressing again, him helping basically draw up the playbook over the summer with Nick Coleman, another offensive analyst, on staff underneath of Satterfield and Beamer there. He's got a wealth of knowledge of what Satterfield looks for, kind of what the passing attack is going to look like, what the expectation is. And oddly enough, despite him not opening up fall camp, as a player in practice, it almost kind of gave him a leg up over Jason Brown and Colton Gauthier, in this quarterback race.
We're talking with Corey Diaz. He is the Greenville News beat reporter for your Gamecocks of South Carolina. South Carolina breaking the news earlier this morning that Zeb Nolan would be the starting quarterback against Eastern Illinois this weekend. So, in your opinion, Corey, is this I said, look, at the end of the day, Shane Beamer can't be blamed for what feels like a decision made because of a lack of depth at the quarterback position. He can only react based on what he has. Should there be some level of concern or panic for the Gamecocks faithful out of this decision? Kind of what's the reaction amongst those in the know to this announcement earlier today?
Overall, Rob, I would say if I was a South Carolina fan right now, I'm not in a panic mode or have a whole lot of concern. I would say I would kind of look at it this way. If I was a fan of the Gamecocks, is I hope this next recruiting class we attack the quarterback position with as much fervor as any other position on the team. Because you're right that there is concern about the overall depth at that position. The quality of depth is something that I think is of concern. But personally, I don't think this is a novelty decision. This wasn't a decision that Shane and Marcus Satterfield made to get more eyes on the South Carolina football program or to drum up some kind of, just again, a weird and unique storyline heading into the year. I personally think, man, that this was a situation where, you had a guy that's got a lot of experience, not just on the FCS level, man. He started a few games during his time at Iowa State, started a game against Oklahoma while Shane was on staff there under Lincoln Riley about 3 years ago. This is a guy that's kind of been in big time stadiums and played in, some games against some big time opponents. And so, I think this could be a situation where, again, like you and I talked yesterday, if Zeb goes out there and performs really well and is really efficient, takes care of the football, doesn't put the offense in bad situations. Shane said today that, it's very realistic that Luke could be available, sometime next week before the East Carolina game. I'm fully expecting a full-on raging quarterback competition between Zeb and Luke. I think these two guys, they're two best guys head and shoulders in that room right now. They're both guys that give this team the best chance to win. And, their skill sets are a little different. Doty's more mobile, can bring something with his legs. But Zeb's is more of a straightforward, drop back passer. But if he's effective with the way he plays, this is going to be a battle that's going to continue to go on, and it could be tough for Luke to get his job back if Zeb goes out and plays well, especially this Saturday, and if he retains that starting job heading into the East Carolina game, if he performs well again, this might be a job that he can hang on to for a while.
Yeah, and that's, I think, the direction I was going to ask. It was, I looked at the kid's numbers, and you mentioned, he's got some FBS time. He was Trey Lance's backup, but, also threw more touchdowns than interceptions in his last season out. Have you seen anything out of Zeb Nolan during your time watching eyes on at practice that give you confidence that he can be a starting guy, can hang on to that position, and that South Carolina can be successful this season if he does?
Yeah, okay. So I guess I'll preface my answer by saying, for what it's worth, we have only, I think we've had 3 media viewing periods since Zeb turned in his coaching whistle for a football helmet. So you combine those together, you're looking at approximately, maybe 55 minutes of him. Yeah, and you have to include stretch time in there as well. So really, probably it's been closer to 30 minutes of watching him kind of, work through, individual drills and 7-on-7 and stuff like that during practice. And, I will say, obviously we spent some time visiting with him and talking with him last week, and the kid is really composed. Also I did a big feature story on him last week as well, and spent a lot of time with his dad just to kind of get into Zeb Nolan and kind of what makes him tick as a football player and as a quarterback. And this was a guy that his dad said that as a sophomore in high school could draw up plays on a grease board better than a lot of coaches. This kid is highly intelligent. I think from an arm talent standpoint, you're not losing much as it pertains to what Luke can throw versus what Zeb can throw. I think this is a guy that's really, really confident in himself, and his whole goal was to come in and just try to make the guys around him the best that they could be, which he has. You know, Shane mentioned it last week and even mentioned it again today. You know, Jason Brown the last couple of weeks has probably looked the best he's ever looked, you know, since he transferred in. You know, so, but I think by him elevating the guys around him, I think it's also worth noting that by him being able to do that, but still yet earn this starting quarterback job for game one, that means with each passing practice, what Shane and Marcus Satterfield has noticed about Zeb and his performance is that it's gradually gotten better, and it's gave them the confidence to give him this role and have him go out there and compete at a high level. I don't think there's any concern, you know, from the coaching staff or anyone in the football facility building. I don't think anyone inside Williams-Brice Stadium on Saturday should be concerned about the quarterback picture right now. I think, honestly, 4 weeks ago when camp opened versus where the quarterback situation sits now, I think South Carolina's in a much better spot at that position today than they were 4 weeks ago when camp opened.
Really? So, you know, look, I think there was, Corey, when Luke Doty got named the starter, I think there was at least some level of comfort from Gamecocks fans because they knew about the kid, right? Like they'd seen his stuff. They've seen him on film. Here comes Zeb Nolan, a guy that the best you can do is go back to last year and watch him as a backup of an FCS team. And I looked at it and went, look, North Dakota State is the FCS team. I mean, they lost in the championship game last year, but for the most part, the last few years, they have been the FCS team. And he was behind a top 5 quarterback draft pick. It's not awful that he was the backup, but I just feel some level of discomfort from Gamecocks fans because they just don't know the guy, right? Like they just don't know him. It's fantastic that he's got a high football IQ, fantastic that he's got the type of football brain that a head coach would say, yes, come on as a GA, come on and help me coach this team. I'm here for you. But Gamecocks fans just want to know, Corey, and I don't know if and how you answer this question, but they just want to know, can the guy get it done, right? Like, can you trust him to run this offense against Eastern Illinois this Saturday and not remove passing the football as an option from the playbook?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right. I mean, how can I answer that question? You know, I'm not trying to dodge it or anything, but, you know, it's hard for me to say, you know. I will say that, you know, this decision would have not been made if there wasn't an enough level of comfort for him to go out there and be able to execute. You know, the offense, you know, regardless of whether it's Luke Doty, you know, under center or Zeb Nolan, the play calling is not going to be much different. It's going to be, you know, probably 80, 85, 90% of the same, you know, play calls that would be made regardless of who the quarterback is. And so, you know, the onus really is on Zeb, man. Like we talked, you know, last couple of days, the onus is on Zeb now to go out there and perform, to go out there, make the throws, you know. I think a lot of South Carolina fans want to see this offense open up. So I wouldn't be surprised if you know, first series or even second series, I mean, there's got to be some deep shots taken downfield. The Satterfield and Shane have got to put Zeb in those situations because they need to see how he's going to respond and how he's going to elevate his game and how he's going to execute. But you're right. I mean, obviously there's no familiarity here. You know, you can go back and try to pull up some North Dakota State games on YouTube and watch him kind of operate and do his thing. And you mentioned it there. I mean, playing quarterback at that school, you know, I mean, that's the Alabama equivalent to FCS, right? I mean, the Carson Wentz's and the Trey Lances, I mean, they've had quarterbacks that are currently in the league, you know, playing high level football in the National Football League. And so, you know, for him to be in that room with that caliber of guys, you know, he talked about it last week about how a lot of the things that he picked up from them has really rubbed off on him and the way he approaches the game and how he studies the game, takes notes. You know, and I think that was another aspect that allowed him to look, man, it's crazy that this kid literally put on the pads for the first time in 3 months, 2 weeks ago. And here 4 days from now, he's going to be starting for an SEC team, you know, at quarterback. I mean, it's almost unfathomable. It's unthinkable that a situation like this would play itself out. But I will say, you know, I've been around a lot of offensive coordinators, in my time covering college football, I would put Marcus Satterfield up there with anyone that I've been around and spent time with in terms of how smart he is and what he looks for and how he breaks down, the positions that matter most. And obviously quarterback would definitely be the most important position. And so with him being hands-on with that, you got to think that, what Zeb has done in practice up to this point would really put himself in this position. So, at this point, again, we haven't played a game, with Shane and his staff. I think as fans, you should go out there and you should trust your coaching staff at this point. If all off season, there's been all this, rainbows and pots of gold and stuff like that about the talking season. There's got to be a level of trust between the fan base and Shane Beamer and the decision that he's going to have to make. So I think they should allow him to at least go out there and make those decisions and see how they play out first.
Cortez is the Gamecock beat reporter for the Greenville News. Joins us here every Monday, but today is Tuesday. However, we got a new quarterback there in Columbia, so we came on board to talk a little bit about it. All right, I know we asked you yesterday. I know we talked a little bit about the importance for Shane Beamer to get his era off on the right foot, to get a little momentum coming out of the gate. I kind of compared it. I've drawn a lot of comparisons since Beamer got hired to the hiring of Willie Taggart down in Tallahassee. We talked a little bit about how awful the Taggart career started, but that was Miami. That was a rival. That was against a team that was trying to be on its way back up. This is against Eastern Illinois. And Corey, I fully suspect that, we could put me out there at quarterback and the Gamecocks should be able to just out-athlete Eastern Illinois for a win. But how important is it for Shane Beamer that whether it's Zeb Nolan or Jason Brown or anybody else, especially now with his quarterback being picked, being named, that they go out there and get it done and not just win the game, but I think show people that they are a good football team?
Well, first off, Rob, I think I need to ask you if you've got any eligibility left because they're kind of thin at the quarterback spot, man. They could use all the bodies they can get.
It's got to be triple option, buddy. That's all I got in me anymore.
But yeah, no, man. I mean, this is a decision, right? That to your point, that regardless of what the trust level is between Shane and his staff and the fan base, there's still going to be some apprehension, right, going into Saturday night. Execution is going to be something that is going to be heavily criticized. So for not only Zeb Nolan's standpoint or Jason Brown once he enters the game, because I do think we'll see both quarterbacks play a lot on Saturday. I don't think we'll be in a situation, during some of the spurrier seasons where you rotate one quarterback in, then the next guy comes in the next series. I don't think we'll see it handled that way. But I do anticipate both quarterbacks getting a ton of snaps because I do think the evaluation process is still ongoing. Even if Luke cannot go next weekend and up at the road trip to Greenville, North Carolina, I do think that the evaluation process between Zeb and Jason are still ongoing. So I think Shane, I think Marcus, they want to see those guys in a game situation against a team that's wearing different colors. They want to see them, put them in situations that's going to cause them to react and have to make a decision. And are they making the right decisions? From a defensive standpoint, Eastern Illinois is a read option team. So playing sound, solid assignment football on the defensive side is going to be the biggest key for the Gamecock defense this week. And that's kind of a good team to kind of start your season on, especially with a new defensive coordinator. Playing assignment football is one of the biggest things when it comes to being successful at this level. If you can do that on the defensive side, you can probably remain in games that, a lot of people might think you wouldn't be able to remain in. You might even can win some games that a lot of people might not think you can win. And so, man, I mean, there's no substitute for, efficiency and execution, what that looks like and how the team gels and comes together. I think we'll have a really good idea of what the execution level of this team will be, probably right around halftime of Saturday. I think we'll know, at least as it pertains to this particular game. I think we'll know whether or not South Carolina is going to, run away with this game, or whether or not it's going to be, there's going to be a lot more questions late Saturday night.
Corey Diaz is the Gamecock beat writer for the Greenville News. He's over in Columbia. Joins us every Monday to talk Gamecock football, but had to jump on today with the announcement of Zeb Nolan as a starting QB. Corey, my man, I know it was kind of last minute. I appreciate you making some time for us, big dog, and we will talk to you on Monday, partner.
Sounds good, brother. Appreciate you guys.
You know it. Looking forward to it. Thank you very much. We'll talk to him coming up again on Monday. Quick break. We're back after this. When we come back, I don't even know how to frame this story. Would you spend money for your favorite athlete's game-worn underwear? There's no tease there. That's what's happening now. We're back after this on the Rob Brown Show at ESPN Upstate.
Patriots placed Pro Bowl corner Stephon Gilmore on the PUP list. He'll miss the first 6 games of the season. Gilmore, who wants a new contract, is recovering from surgery on a torn quad. Saints receiver Michael Thomas recovered from foot surgery on the PUP list. New Orleans bye week is week 6, so he's out at least the first 5 games. Baseball, shortstop Francisco Lindor and second baseman Javi Baez apologized to Mets fans today, said they were wrong for giving thumbs down gestures after getting booed in recent games. Lindor said it did not look good on their part.
From the Ingles Market Studio, this is ESPN Upstate. 97.7 FM Greenville, 97.1 FM Spartanburg. ESPN Upstate.
An Odyssey station.
This feature sponsored by Navage. Worried about what you're breathing in? With each breath, allergens, germs, and viruses get trapped in your nose. Now there's a simple, easy, and effective way to clean your nose and protect your health. It's called Navage. Navage. Available at Navage.com.
You hear that? It's not just another sound effect. It's the sound of your life changing. Unfold your world with Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 3 5G. A world where your phone is a tablet, and a tablet is pocket-sized. Where you get 2 screens in one, and you get more done. Where you can really have it all in the palm of your hand. A world where all eyes are on you, and you show everyone how to live this life. Get the new Galaxy Z Fold 3 5G at Samsung.com. 5G connection and availability may vary. Check with carrier.
When you're ready to buy something, the first thing you do is go online. But buying a home is different. You've got loan applications, pre-approvals, competing offers, the list goes on. That's where a Realtor comes in. Realtors have expertise and local knowledge to give you a competitive edge that a search bar just can't. And in today's market, an edge is what you need. So when you're ready to buy a home, the first thing to do is make sure you have an agent who's a Realtor. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. That's who we are.
Get more miles on the road with O'Reilly Auto Parts. A clean fuel system means better gas mileage for your car. Right now at O'Reilly Auto Parts, get 2 bottles of Lucas fuel injector cleaner for $8. Plus, earn double O rewards points. For a clean, lubricated, more fuel-efficient system, stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
We're planning a trip to Spain later this year.
But our Spanish
It's pretty bad. So we're using Babbel.
Babbel's conversation-based method teaches you real-life words and phrases. And with Babbel's interactive, bite-sized lessons, you'll remember what you learned.
There's no easier way to learn another language.
Ahora hablamos español.
He just said, now we speak
Babbel, language for life. Now try Babbel for
Keegan said, this dude in my Zoom meeting looks like a Dollar General cane. Dude, that's good.
Get 2 great tastes in one delicious bar. Enjoy enjoy a Nature Valley sweet and salty nut bar.
How can you authenticate which game?
Hey, baseball fans.
Okay. Okay, pasta?
Instant bonus up to $500 when you make your first fantasy deposit. Just sign up using promo code PLAY and get your bonus today. Then use that bonus to play in one of FanDuel's big daily fantasy contests, where first place takes home even bigger prizes. You'll love playing fantasy baseball on FanDuel. It's easy to start. Just choose the players you want while staying under the salary cap, and you only need to set one lineup. Take on thousands of baseball fans from across the country, or create your own private fantasy league and play against.
There's a fruit fly.
The scoring system is
I know.
payouts are fast.
And he goes
Or
right
at
here.
least I believe there's something, or you believe.
No, there
there's
is.
something.
No. He was just on my thumb. That's what I was trying to do, was pop him.
I haven't seen it, but that doesn't mean it's not there.
So get in on the action and download the FanDuel Fantasy app today and sign up using promo code PLAY so they know we sent you. Again, that's promo code PLAY. Age and location restrictions apply. We're trophy hosts. Sorry, trophy
I didn't get him, Lonzo. He's still flying around. He keeps landing on me.
There
is a fruit fly in the studio.
If you say so, because I haven't seen it. So I've seen you swiping, and every time you swipe, I don't see.
It's a fruit fly.
Okay.
And it's aggravating the crap out of me. So, I've asked this question a lot. Lonzo, what's the most unique fan memorabilia you own? Like the most unique thing you own sports memorabilia wise?
All right. First, I have to say I'm sorry I doubted you.
You said.
Sports memorabilia. I don't really. I don't know. I have a hockey puck from the Greenville Growl.
Cool.
Which is when Greenville got their very first hockey team. Yeah. I'm looking at it. I want to hit it, but it's on the microphone, and I know that's bad. But I thought about it for a second. I'm just hoping it doesn't fly in my mouth while I'm talking. That's why I hesitated. So I have that. I don't have any famous sports memorabilia. I got some other stuff, but it's nerd type stuff. So
I've got some weird stuff. I got some weird stuff. I've got a sweatband that was worn by Morton the Great Dane Anderson when he used to cook for the New Orleans Saints years ago. Like, I got his wristbands, and they're game used, and they're gross and they're sweaty, and I still keep them. Stuff like that. How much would you pay for your favorite athlete's game worn undies?
All right, so I've been thinking about this. It depends on what they are. Are they tidy whities? Are they? Is it a jock strap? Is it
currently on the auction block for an opening bid of $500? You can be the proud owner of a pair of Michael Jordan's game-worn boxer briefs.
Okay, so they're boxer briefs, which means there's a little more material there. And plus, he's a tall guy, so it means there's going to be some more material there.
They are heavily used boxer shorts, end quote.
The other thing is, if you're willing to buy this, you believe there's some mojo, some magic on those underwear.
You ain't wearing them, right?
You believe there's some. Michael Jordan magic if I wear these underwear.
Page 6 Sports says, there's being a Michael Jordan superfan, and then there's wanting to own a pair of his personally worn boxer shorts. For the sickos, sorry, the enthusiast in the latter category, we can reveal that a pair of the NBA legend's undies are going up for sale by Leland's Auctioneers. An auction insider tells us the shorts were, quote, regularly, end quote, worn by Jordan and show signs of, quote, heavy use, end quote. But we'll be damned if we're going to ask what that means. So if you want to know, you're going to have to find out for yourself. Their number is, I'm tempted to call it, it's listed on their website publicly, so I'm not breaking anything here, 732-290-8000. Godspeed. The blurb says that this item is quote, about as close to greatness as one can get, end quote.
Hey, bro, smell these.
The good
Smells
news,
like a winner, doesn't it?
The good news is that the boxer briefs come with a dry cleaning tag, meaning they have been cleaned since the last time that his airness put his aired junkness into the shorts.
So wait a minute. Why are these up for? Is Jordan desperate for money? Is that what it is? No way you caught it.
You are correct.
Yeah, you're not Danielson or.
The reserve price is $500, which they're going to go ahead and note for no particular reason is also the cost of a couple of decent therapy sessions. The shorts are part of a sale of Jordan's belongings that ended up in the hands of his one-time bodyguard, John Michael Wozniak, who was memorably seen beating Jordan in a game. He was the one that did the shrug emoji.
I know.
Items in the sale include coats, suit, ties, and golf clubs that once belonged to the GOAT. Although how Wozniak ended up with a pair of Jordan's, quote, heavily used boxer shorts, end quote, is just one of the many questions about the situation we choose not to dwell on, and I choose not to dwell on it anymore either. The answer is no. I love, for instance, Ken Griffey Jr. He's my favorite athlete of all time. Lonzo, I would not give $5 to own the underwear that cradled Ken Griffey Jr.'s junior.
All right, so here's the deal. There's no way that I would do this, and I would be concerned about sharing a room with someone who has.
Correct.
Because there's weirdos, and then there's I bought someone's underwear.
I thought it was fun a number of months ago. Do you remember we were trying to get approval to buy? Who was it? It was somebody's denture holder. Jack Lambert, wasn't it? It was Jack Lambert's denture holder. We were trying to get approved for a GoFundMe to buy Jack Lambert's denture holder to display in the office. And I am still all on board for that. Remind me to check during the break to see if it's still up for auction. I have zero intrigue in buying his airness's aired out laundry to hang on the wall here at the studio. Quick break. Twitter trending topics next on the Rob Brown Show at ESPN Upstate. So on my Twitter feed, I am followed by two Kevin Martins who do not know each other, are not connected to each other. One of their handles is K_Mart10, The other is K_Mar10. That's a fun coincidence.
It is. And the fact that you noticed that
only because
means you keep track of your listeners. Way to go. So when are we pushing the bowling thing?
Whenever I get told to.
Okay. I didn't know if you've been told to.
I have not been told.
Probably be a good game to go to. Burns and Dutch Fork.
Yeah, I'm going to be in Charleston, or I would 100% be.
That's right. I remember you told me that.
Snowboarding? Just bought a new Nissan Pathfinder. It's got intelligent 4x4, and we want to hit the backcountry. I only 18. And the boats? Are you sure you can do all this? Up to 6,000 pounds towing, we're good to go. Oh, where's the scuba gear?
Return to rugging in the all-new 2022 Nissan Pathfinder. Available intelligent 4x4 cannot prevent collisions or provide enhanced traction in all conditions. Always monitor traffic and weather conditions. Capability varies by configuration. See Nissan owner's manual for proper use.
You know, if you look at footwear from the past, there are just some shoes that are not so great for your feet. Oh, she's not killing me.
They are killing me.
What a mess. Luckily, Skechers made footwear history by designing astonishingly comfortable footwear that are good for your feet. Let's start with fit. Skechers are the fit specialists that have the perfect fit for virtually any foot shape. Skechers have wide fit, relaxed fit, stretch fit, and arch fit with podiatrist certified arch support. Skechers teamed up with podiatrists who delivered 20 years of data to make arch fit, and feet worldwide are benefiting from the comfort and plus Skechers, the comfort technology company, have innovations like air-cooled memory foam, durable Goodyear rubber, and hyper-burst cushioning. These promote comfort and offer incredible protection from the impact of everyday walking and running. And Skechers doesn't just care about your feet; your budget is important too. Skechers are an incredible value, plus most are machine washable and many styles are vegan. Look, you only get 2 feet, so you better take care of them in Skechers. Skechers, a fit to be tried. Find the next pair at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or the salvage store where it's sold.
This report is sponsored by JustPlainKillers.com. Heartfelt sympathy to those South Carolinians who have lost loved ones to an overdose. Communities are urged to be aware of preventive measures like Narcan. Narcan is a life-saving medication available over the counter at local pharmacies. Go to JustPlainKillers.com to find a pharmacy near you.
All right, time for Twitter trending topics. Where it's
Petty or like a beer?
like something you can't say at a certain sporting event.
Something you can't say at a certain sporting event. That thing that you literally told me about a handful of minutes ago. So the PGA,
which is trending now.
Which is now trending. Earlier today, it was announced that the PGA Tour has announced it will ban fans if they shout Brooksy at Bryson DeChambeau. Of course, Brooksy is the name they call Brooks Koepka, but they don't call Brooks Koepka Brooksy. They call Bryson Brooksy because Bryson hates Brooksy, and they're a big thing. And then it's gotten to be funny to aggravate Bryson because he melts down, and so they call him Brooksy. And now the PGA Tour has announced that if you yell Brooksy at Bryson, then you will be removed from tour events.
Apparently, you can't say Brewski either because it sounds too close to Brooksy.
Seriously?
Yes.
I'm here for it. Let's just get weird. Chill, Bryson. Chill, my dude. Just chill. Just chill. Just chill. Mark Ryan, Diesel are up next. Texter says ESPN, the host for the show for men would drain his account for Tebow's banana hammock. Enjoy. The Diesel, yes, I'm in.
How do you
Tomorrow on the Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate later.
Sadly, Mark Hendricks